than he has walked this year.
A reminder, Yankee baseball is broadcast in Spanish. It's available by hitting the SAP button on your television. And the pitch to Crisp is a little bit low. 81 degrees, first pitch temperature here at Yankee Stadium. Slice foul to really get an idea of the relative inexperience of this Indians team. The 25-man roster for the Indians have combined to hit 115 home runs. Now, to realize the differential between the next worst team, that would be the Detroit Tigers, and the Tigers' 25-man rosters hit 315 home runs, so 200 less than the second to last team. This is a young bunch of kids.
And when you say bunch, that's really the way they have to beat teams. There's the home run graphic. They don't hit many. They have to use the speed of a Coco Crisp and bunch a few singles together and some stolen bases to put their big innings to. Yesterday was a rarity. They got a 3-run homer.
And the 1-2. Just missed outside. Jim Reynolds is the home plate umpire. Laz Diaz at first, Scott Nelson at second. Jim Joyce is over at third.
And for Joe Torre on the other end of the spectrum, the Yankees, their 25-man rosters hit 2,048 home runs. That's the most in the major leagues.
A little bit of a disparity there. The 2-2 just fouled off. But I think the big difference between the two teams is not the home runs, it's the pitching. The Indians are still trying to fashion a staff. I think the Indians will score enough runs if they get enough pitching. And there's a stark difference between the two staffs. The 2-2 to Crisp. Lined into left center field, giving chase is Matsui. He dives, doesn't make the play. He trapped the ball. Holding it first is Crisp. The third base umpire, Jim Joyce, quickly made the trap call. We'll have to get a look at that.
A great effort in left field by Matsui to try and make this play on this sinking line drive towards the gap. It's tough to tell right there on that particular angle. Here's another look at it. Boy, it's still tough to tell whether he caught it or not. No argument from Matsui. This might be the most definitive angle yet. And yes, Jim Joyce was right on it.
Good call. Good
call by Jim Joyce, the third base umpire, as Matsui did trap the ball.
Good pictures from the guys in the truck. Finally got the angle, and that was it. So it was a great call.
And a good play by Matsui from the standpoint if it gets by him with Crisp's speed, he's on third base. Or maybe inside the park.
Win Bernfeld with that good shot, the telling shot there on the trap. Thank you, Win. Let's see if Crisp goes. Mussina's thinking along those lines.
7 stolen bases on the season for Crisp. He has been caught 4 times. He'll start him with the sign. Sometimes there's a pitch out involved. With Mussina, you might call the pitch out just about any time because he's able to throw strikes later in the count.
When Mel saw that ball sinking in left field, Hideki trapped it. If it got by him, might have been an inside the parker. Do you know that a historic moment in Yankee history? 38 years ago today, he hit a grand slam inside the park home run.
It's against the Red Sox and Bill Mambu Kent.
Runner goes. The throw to second is in time. Great throw by Posada. Good tag by Soriano. And Crisp is down trying to steal 2-4.
I'll tell you, Gary Tuck must be smiling out in the bullpen. And first of all, great feat from Posada. Good fastball to throw on and another fastball to second. And Soriano right on the bag. And the tag is somewhat applied.
Brushed the elbow. Blake fouls it back.
Talking to that last close-up shot. There's Gary Tuck. That last close-up shot of Soriano making the tag. Talking to Stick Michael about that very play a couple of weeks ago, where infielders they want to cheat and come up in front of the bag instead of stay back. You know, if his glove is back on the bag, he slides right into it. Technically, 2-3 looks at that, he's safe. But anytime the ball's there, you're going to get the benefit of the call. See how far in front of the bag he is. This foot's on the bag. It ought to be back here, and the glove should be right there. He tags him on the shoulder, and his hand actually got in. You get the benefit of the call because the ball was there first.
High pop-up. In the infield, Jeter shading his eyes from the sun. 2 away.
Right after that, we saw that shot of Gary Tuck out in the outfield there. And what he was doing, he's got a book that he keeps on both catchers, Posada and Flaherty. And what he will do, he'll mark in that book, you know, a good play by Posada to throw the runner out. He'll mark also when there's stolen bases where he feels the catcher really didn't have a chance to throw the guy. Maybe it was the pitcher's fault. But pretty soon here, towards the end of the month, we're going to get a look at that, what he has marked down for the month and how he's graded the catchers out. So that'd be something to look forward to.
Pitch to Jody Garrett is a strike. Now this is a very, very intelligent confrontation.
Ooh,
Stanford against
alumni
Stanford.
game.
Yeah.
This is an old-timer alumni game.
I think that Garrett had the harder major. I think Mike Mussina's was math.
No, economics.
Economics.
Yeah.
I think economics would be easier than U.S. and Russian history. It's a toss-up.
Well, you know, economics
Slam
can be
dunk.
applied to baseball a little bit better, particularly with contracts the way they are now.
Good point.
Yeah.
1-1. Well, economics looks like it's going to win. Jody Garrett is out on the ground ball to Soriano. No runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 man left. Dare I say it, an economical inning for Mike Mussina. Yankees coming to bat. The New York Yankees, the world's most successful sports franchise, are celebrating their historic 100th anniversary in 2003. On Tuesday, July 22nd, the first 18,000 fans 14 and under will receive a Hideki Matsui bobblehead doll courtesy of Hormel at Land O'Lakes. Come out to Yankee Stadium and join in the celebration of 100 years of greatness. Well, Jake Westbrook and the Indians have taken the field. Westbrook taking his warm-ups in front of a sellout crowd. Let's take a look now at the New York Yankees starting lineup, which is presented by Dodge. Alfonso Soriano, the second baseman, leads off, batting second and playing shortstop, Derek Jeter. Jason Giambi, the king of the 3-run singles. He'll be at first base and bat third. Batting fourth and playing center field, Bernie Williams. Hideki Matsui, the left fielder, will hit fifth. Batting sixth and catching, Jorge Posada. Ruben Sierra, the DH, will hit seventh. Batting eighth and playing third base, Robin Ventura. And the number 9 hitter in the Yankee lineup is the right fielder, Raul Mondesi, who's been 5 for 9 in this series.
And they'll face 25-year-old Jake Westbrook. You see his numbers. As Kenny mentioned in the open, more walks than strikeouts. He does not throw a lot of strikes. He's a nibbler. Could be in for a long day unless he changes his form.
Here's a Yes Scouting report. He was actually traded for Hideki. No, not Matsui. He was traded for Hideki Arabu a few years back in 1999. Left-handed batters are nibbling at him at a .310 batting average. That's more than nibble. That's a big bite. But he tends to nibble because he doesn't want the ball to be hit. That's why he has more walks than strikeouts.
Well, Soriano led off yesterday's first inning for the Yankees with his 9th leadoff home run of the year. That ties him with Rickey Henderson for the most leadoff home runs by a Yankee in one season. And Soriano's got a lot of season to go. And the pitch. Grounded sharply to third. Casey Blake. 1 away.
Yeah, trade I was talking about. The Yankees actually got Westbrook from the Montreal Expos for Hideki Arabu as Arabu moved on to Montreal, and from there Hideki is now pitching in Japan again, and I think he won the All-Star game. Might be working his way back to the States.
There's the bio on Jake Westbrook, actually drafted by the Rockies and broke in right here with the Yankees in 2000. He was involved in the David Justice trade. That's how the Indians got him.
Pitch to Jeter is a strike. Jeter is 20 for his last 42. Jeter part of a very exciting play in yesterday's game. Bases loaded, 3-2 count. Giambi at the plate. CC Sabathia on the mound. Runners going, and Jeter scored from first on a single to center.
Manager Eric Wedge of the Indians made a point, at least I read in the paper, to say from now on he will not let his pitchers work from the windup in this situation, which allows the runner at first to get a good jump. There's Jeter scoring all the way from first base, a 3-run single. He says even if they feel uncomfortable, from this point on, they're going to work from the stretch, 3-2.
The 0-2. So he's saying right from the time the guy gets on the mound with the bases loaded, he's not going to have him change on 3-2.
No, he will have them change.
But you said that's not a good thing yesterday.
Well,
right?
I think it's not, because what will happen to the pitcher, you don't feel comfortable. All of a sudden, you go to the stretch. He says even if they don't feel comfortable, they're going to go to the stretch.
Line drive down the left field line. The red-hot Jeter is still hot. He will get 2, maybe more. Chris Lowe digs it out cleanly, fires it back in. So Derek Jeter is on with a 1-out double.
Got a pitch inside that he could pull. As Kenny pointed out, Derek has really been taking the ball the opposite way, so the pitcher's probably saying, hey, let's come inside, but if you don't have enough on it, that's what'll happen. Turns on it and picks up another double.
Smoking and not joking. Was it 22 for his last 43?
Let's see, 21 for 43.
That's still pretty good.
They have the shift on against Giambi. Only one man on the left side of the infield. That's Blake, but he's closer to the line than most shifts. And there's a strike. Although the shortstop Peralta, once the pitch is delivered, is about 1 or 2 steps on the shortstop side of second.
Michael, here is Blake at third, and I think the reason he is there and not over here as we usually see it is because Jeter could actually beat him to third base and steal the bag.
You know, he'd still have quite an advantage because the throw from Martinez would still have to hit Blake on the run, and he'd have to make the tag on the run. Giambi, who picked up those 3 ribbies on a single yesterday, has 79 on the year. And that is 19 less than the #1 man in the AL, and that's Carlos Delgado, but close behind Wells and Anderson. There's the shift we're talking about. The 1-1 is inside.
Back to your point about Sabathia yesterday in the stretch and Eric Wedge's comments. I don't know if he meant his pitchers will pitch the entire at-bat, but I hope that's what he meant. Instead of just all of a sudden a 3-2 switching to the stretch.
Yeah, because it is more difficult to all of a sudden switch when it's 3-2. Usually what you see is a pitcher comes in, goes to set, and the next pitch is going to be high for ball 4 because he just can't follow through out the stretch as he was from the windup.
You know, the myth that you throw harder from the windup, as Carl Willis, the Indians pitching coach, looks on, is not necessarily true. It's just, as you said, a comfort thing, and it's not a bad idea with as much speed as there is in the game today to get in a habit of pitching, you know, from the stretch with the bases loaded.
And the 2-2 just missed inside. I wonder if that could be left for interpretation, though, if there's a slow runner on first base and the guy really does feel more comfortable in the windup.
Now you ought to get in a habit of doing one or the other. Prepare in spring training. You know, this is what I'm going to do. Leave nothing to chance. Get comfortable doing it and stick with it. But obviously, up till now, Sabathia has worked exclusively from the windup.
3-2. He struck him out. Chased a high fastball with first base open. So Giambi down on strikes. A rare lack of discipline from him at the plate. 2 away.
That pitch at the knees. That one went inside, and the next couple are going to back him off the plate. Little cutter. Fouls that off. And here's the pitch Michael's talking about. He got Giambi to chase one out of the strike zone.
You know, Kenny, the way that at bat kind of unfolded, it looked to me as though he didn't mind whether he walked him.
Right.
But Giambi just didn't let him.
There's Bernie Williams.
Pretty good juice on Westbrook's fastball. At least it looks and sounds like it. And he pitched a lot out of the bullpen. Then they optioned him to Buffalo to, as they say, stretch his arm out. Get him down there to get ready. They're going to give him, I think, one more look as a starter until one of their phenoms, Cliff Lee, gets healthy.
They've got a number of phenoms in their minor league system. There's another right-hander, Jeremy Guthrie.
Right.
He has started at AA, has moved up to AAA, and might be one of those September call-ups for Cleveland. Young man, another pitcher out of Stanford.
Are they going to class there or what? Keep producing these pitchers.
Obviously.
Baseball's a class, isn't it?
I guess so. The 2-0. check this swing, but they say he went around. So the count now 2-1.
I was watching Bernie during batting practice, and sometimes that can be an indication of when a hitter's starting to come around. And Bernie was hitting several shots around the ballpark, hit one into the upper deck, lower deck, and right. And solid line drives all over the park. And sometimes that can be an indication that things are about ready to get jump started.
2-1 pitch. There's a strike.
Nice movement on that fastball by Westbrook.
And the 2-2. 3-2. Hideki Matsui is on deck.
Westbrook's one of those pitchers you could just about start the count at 3-2. He's going to 3-2 you to death, which for Eric Wedge means he's going to get through maybe 5 innings at that pace.
Like that last big piece of pie. You don't want to eat it all. You just nibble at it, you know.
Jeter's on second with 2 outs. Bottom of the first, no score. And the 3-2. Grounded sharply to second. Sorensen is there. And Westbrook works out of trouble. He survives the Jeter double. No runs a hit, no errors, and 1 man left. We played 1 at Yankee Stadium. Yankees nothing and the Indians nothing. You're watching the Yankees on the Yes Network. Milton Bradley leads off against Mike Mussina. No score as we go to the second, and the pitch is outside. Each team with a hit in the first inning. Neither team able to push across a run. That one's fouled back.
Kenny you'd mentioned how Mussina struck out 100 more than he's walked. One of the amazing stats in all of baseball. And to me, the greatest pitcher during my baseball lifetime, Sandy Koufax, 1 year actually struck out 300 more than he walked. He struck out like 385 and walked 82. So that's a combination of power and control.
1-1. The amazing thing about him is he couldn't get the ball over the plate as a kid. Right. Boy, did he turn it around.
It was acquired.
David Wells is having that sort of year.
Speaking of walks, how about Boomer? He goes out to eat last night. Now, this probably was a plant, but a Manhattan eatery. And here's what his fortune cookie says. The only reason David Wells does not have a dog is that he will not walk him.
That one is lined to right center field, giving chase is Mondesi. He's there. 1 away. Jim, I hope that's a plant, or then I'm going to start believing in that stuff.
Yeah.
David's had quite a year. He's 12-3, the only 12-game winner on the Yankee staff. And if you watched him in spring training and followed all the things that were coming down around him, you never thought he'd be 12-3.
He was the Yankees' leading winner last year with 19 wins.
Spring training, it looked like he might not even be on the team. He wanted to quit. Unhappy with the comments in the book and felt kind of embarrassed about some of them.
You thought he had a better chance to be a bestseller than the best pitcher.
Yeah.
The 0-1. Foul back.
Pageantry yesterday of Old Timers Day. I mean, it was, the weather was much like it is today, just perfect. And David Wells on the mound and won his 12th game, and that's why you whistle a happy tune. Didn't walk anybody. Kept the game moving.
And the 0-2. He struck him out. 2 away. First strikeout for Mussina.
Mentioned how precise Mike is with his pitching, and that pitch is an example of it. That is a perfect pitch up and in. Very little Broussard can do with it. Close enough to be a strike. Too close to take.
Did not get the extension and get the barrel of the bat to the ball. So now it's 101 more strikeouts than walks.
Bernie's waving. Hey Bernie. Pitch to Travis Hafner. is popped up. Matsui's having trouble seeing it. Now he picks it up, and he puts it away for the final out of a 1-2-3 inning. Just 9 pitches for Mike Mussina to get those 3 outs here in the second. We go to the bottom of the second inning. Yankees nothing, and the Indians nothing.
Come on in, Derek. I thought we discussed this thing and had it all worked out. You're our starting shortstop. How can you possibly afford to spend 2 nights dancing, 2 nights eating out, and 3 nights just carousing with your friends? Oh.
If you want to enjoy the New York nightlife, bring your Visa card, because Orso, Cheetah, and the Broome Street Bar don't take American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
Today at 5, minor league baseball returns to Yes with a preview of the American League East rivalry to come. The All-Stars of tomorrow clash when the Yankees AAA affiliate, the Columbus Clippers, welcome Boston's farm team, the Pawtucket Red Sox, to Columbus, including a scheduled rehab appearance by, drumroll please, the Yankees' Nick Johnson as he makes his way back to the Bronx. Don't miss Pawtucket against Columbus today at 5 right here on Yes. Hideki Matsui leads off. And the pitch is a strike.
I believe Nick Johnson is scheduled to move on to Trenton as he continues his rehab, so he'll be headed to Double-A in the Eastern League.
Matsui grounds one foul. Count 1-2.
So watch Westbrook work here. His sinker kind of gives me an indication. If I were hitting, I'd try and make him bring the ball up. Looks like his sinker, he's starting out low, and as the Yankees go to swing at it, is dipping out of the strike zone. That's when to make him bring the ball up just a hair. Like that.
Off to down the left field line, giving chase is Crisp on the run. He makes the play in the corner for the first out of the inning.
Yeah, the real good, experienced sinker ball pitchers, they'll say that in the dugout, but then after 4 innings, the hitters will start saying, well, I guess we have to go down and get it because he's not bringing it up. You know, Jeff Weaver has capabilities of doing that, but you're right. That's why Westbrook is he's throwing less than 60% of his pitches for strikes. That's way down near the bottom of the American League. Against a team like the Yankees, you keep finding yourself in hitting counts. It's going to be tough to beat them.
And the pitch to Posada is a strike.
And sometimes as I watch games like these, and it kind of reminds me of one of those big heavyweight championship fights where the first few innings are like rounds. And the hitters and the pitcher kind of feeling themselves out here. You're just going back and forth sparring. Then you have a little more look at what the guy's trying to do, whether the pitcher or the hitter didn't. You start trying to land some haymakers in there and try and take control.
And the 1-1.
You know, the very fact that you mentioned that when I was coaching the Reds, that was what I tried to convey to a pitching staff. The first time through the batting order, a hitter kind of wants to get a look at what kind of stuff you have. So don't show them everything. Gamble on getting them out with 1 or 2 pitches. Sometimes you can get through the batting order and not use all of your pitches, so that second and third time you have something left.
That's why I felt my very first at bat, the more pitches that I saw would be more beneficial to me for the rest of the game, or at least while that pitcher was in there.
So it would be safe to assume you didn't swing at the first pitch much the first time up.
You know, if it was right there, I'm gonna. But, you know, I was a guy who was known to get some walks.
He struggles in the first couple of innings, Jake Westbrook. 6.14 ERA in the first 3. The middle 3, it drops to 3.74. And the final 3, well, I wonder how many times he's pitched 7th, 8th,
I don't think he's been there.
That one is ripped down the right field line. That'll be extra bases into the corner. Posada rounds first. He'll go to second. The throw by Garrett is a 19 hopper, and Posada's in there with a double. Not a good throw by Jody Garrett.
Well, last year, Posada set a club record for doubles by a catcher, and this one is ripped into the corner, and it's up to him to make this a 2-base hit. Jody Garrett has a good arm. This wasn't one of his better throws, as it as Michael called it. There's a few hops to it. Posada with an odd slide, but is in there with a two-base hit and seems to be okay. That's his 14th double of the year.
Here's Ruben Sierra. A little bit low. You know, we just showed that he has an ERA of 0.00, and we laughed the final 3 innings, so I wanted to check it out. He's pitched 2 outs into the 7th once all year. I guess he didn't allow a run. Swing and a miss. Posada flexing that hand. He did kind of go in with an awkward slide. Might have gotten spiked on that hand. Soft ground ball is short. Peralta across the diamond. 2 away as Posada advances the 3rd.
Here's that slide that Michael was talking about, and I was more about the knee. Now I watched the left hand. Yeah, it's Peralta who steps on his hand, and that causes some problems for Posada. Immediately calls timeout, but seems to be okay.
Here's Robin Ventura. Ventura 6 for his last 47. He sat out the last 2 games against lefty starters, so now he gets a go at Jake Westbrook.
Taking a look at Robin's bat, you'll notice this year he's been up there with that Matsui model. He's tried his own. The bat that he used last year, he said for some reason or other he can't find the same length and balance. You know, even though bats will come out 34, 32, it might not feel just the same. I guess you want to feel a bat that's balanced, right, Kenny?
Yeah, first of all, I'm going to look at the wood. If the wood looks pretty good, then I'll pick it up. You know, these you get a ship in a dozen, and there might be only 3 or 4 you might use in a game. The others you might use in batting practice or let other guys use them. They say, "Can I use one of your bats?" You say, yeah, "Go pick one of those. Not the ones on the left. Pick the ones on the right."
Before the game today, Robin spent a lot of time in the Yankee video room, so obviously trying to go over swings that produce good results, and he is working. It just hasn't been happening for him.
I think when you look at video, it's always to reinforce positive things. Look at video when you were hitting well.
Way outside, so Ventura walks.
See, there's a scouting report at bat. If you're Jake Westbrook, Victor Martinez, you look at the scouting report and say this is the way you have to pitch Robin Ventura, down and away. But if you look at the stats and you realize how he's scuffling, that's a guy you have to say, I'm going to make him put the ball in play because he's not hitting well, as opposed to Mondesi, who's been hitting, regardless of the fact he's a right-hand hitter, he's a much better hitter these days.
Mondesi has 5 hits in this series.
Mondesi 5 for 9 against the Indians. It's interesting. Susan Waldman interviewed Raul after the game, and he actually said, I really want Reggie here. When Reggie's here, things are better. And I guess he reinforces, go to the other way, go to the other way. And we had Reggie on yesterday, and that was one of the things that Reggie spoke about.
Yeah, during that interview, Raul told Susan that his confidence level is up. Which is, you have no confidence when you step in the box. I mean, you're 90% defeated to begin with.
Now, Reggie did mention something. You watched yesterday how Raul hit the home run, and then later on he hit one to right field as well. Not a home run, but a drive to right. But it does make you wonder. Reggie brought this up during the talk with us. He doesn't want to be a crutch for Mondesi. Well, it seems like that's what it's developing into. Mondesi's got to take those theories and apply them even when Reggie Jackson is not here. Count 2-1.
Good stop by Martinez behind the plate. That might have resulted in a run if he didn't get down and stop that. young catcher from Venezuela, who the Cleveland Indians feel is going to be their catcher of the immediate and far into the future.
Yeah, they really have some good-looking young players, inexperienced but really talented.
Soft ground ball is short. Going to be a tough play. Across the diamond, they just get Mondesi hustling down the line for the final out of the inning. No runs are hit, no errors, and 2 men are left. We played 2 at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. It's the Indians nothing and the Yankees nothing. You're watching Yankee baseball on the Yes Network. The New York Yankees, the world's most successful sports franchise, are celebrating their historic 100th anniversary in 2003. On Tuesday, July 22nd, the first 18,000 fans 14 and under will receive a Hideki Matsui bobblehead doll, courtesy of Hormel at Land O'Lakes. Come out to Yankee Stadium and join in the celebration of 100 years of greatness.
A Yes Network special event. Take a journey with Bernie from the house that Ruth built to the House of Blues. Rudy Giuliani hosts Bernie Williams and guests playing songs from his debut album. Bernie Williams, The Journey Within, tonight at 10, only on Yes.
Tonight's an evening of conversation, music, and more on Yes. First, at 8 o'clock, it's breaking news when anchorman and author Tom Brokaw talks sports on the news center stage. Next, at 9, learn more about the Yankees closer Mariano Rivera on Yankeeography, and then followed at 10 by the Yes Network concert special, Bernie Williams, The Journey Within. It's an evening of great television starting tonight at 8, only on Yes. That's pretty much your life, Kitty. Conversation, music, and more.
That's it. I mean, I saw Bernie's gig last night, and it was terrific. Really,
Yeah, very good.
very entertaining, professional, and
Martinez hits one deep to center, and The Journey Within takes him all the way back for the first out.
when you see Bernie perform like that, you'd say he's a musician who happens to be a ball player instead of a ball player who happens to be a musician. But I haven't had a chance to see the Brokaw interview, as well as, well, we've seen Mariano's a little here on the screen, but that'll be my TV for the night.
Big steak in front of you watching it?
Probably.
Nice.
Yeah.
Can I come over?
Sure. Plenty of room.
Here's Johnny Peralta. And I could sit there. I could be like the guy who's watched the movie before, and I can tell you, here's what Brokaw's going to say.
Oh, yeah, right.
Doesn't that tick you off?
This is the kind of guy you like to sit next to.
All right, this is where he cries. Here's the 1-0. Grounded foul.
Here's another good-looking young player. Just the way he made that last play to end the inning was very Derek Jeter-like. He's 21 years old. I'll tell you, the Indian ownership should be very happy and do their best to keep this group together. Let them grow as a team, see what they become.
I guess the most important thing for this group would be that they end up developing their own pitchers, because that's the most expensive commodity. So if they're not really into spending that much money, they have to be like the A's and develop their big three. The 2-1. We spoke yesterday about Hudson, Zito, and Mulder will eventually become free agents. Well, you know they're going to end up outbidding other teams for those guys.
Yeah, but if they do, you know, they're going to have an inexpensive lineup, and they have a couple of good young pitchers. Sabathia and Davis that we saw in this series. Kenny mentioned a couple down the farm system.
Like, that's what it always, you know, I understand the smarts of Billy Beane, the general manager of the Oakland A's, but all that other stuff with the on-base percentage, none of it would really matter unless they had those pitchers.
Of course, that's where it gets overblown. Without Zito, Mulder, and Hudson, just another team.
Hit down the first base line. Nice play by Giambi, and a nice toss to Mussina. That's an outstanding play by Mike Mussina to get over there.
Good recovery. That's good athleticism by Mike. He originally, as we see this play, I think Mike thought it was going to be an easy play for Giambi, and he was a little late getting over there, and then Jason says, oop, and Mussina had to turn on the afterburners and just beat Peralta by a step.
He might have thought the ball was going to be caught on the fly. Instead, it was played on one hop, and Mussina got a little giddy up there, doesn't
Yeah.
he? Turned it on, got over the first in time ahead of Peralta for the out.
I wonder if they're giving Mussina some time to get a
Yeah,
blow
he's getting
now.
a breather.
Yeah.
You know, he's what is he, 33 now?
Yeah.
34. Well, see, as you mentioned, Kenny, he thought, and when you'd come back to the dugout, you'd say, you know, I thought that ball was going down the line. They'd say to you, kid, don't think, just throw. But in Mussina's case, he said, hey, I'm from Stanford. I always think.
Here's Zach Sorensen. Swung on a miss. And the thing with Mussina getting the late jump, he couldn't do what you're supposed to, which is run down to the first base line and then head up toward right. So he's lucky that he got there just a step before Peralta so they didn't run into each other. It was a bad angle. He had to cross in front of the run. There's
Sorensen, a rare start at second base. He also out of Wichita State, like their third baseman Casey Blake and their manager Eric Wedge.
They're all shockers.
Got that surprising?
The Wichita State Shockers.
That must be a great thing for that school. To point to the Indians and go, look at the three people.
Well, it's been a great baseball program. Their marquee player coming out of there is Joe Carter.
1-2. Strike three right down the middle. Sorensen down looking. So 1-2-3 inning for Mike Mussina and the Yankees. We go to the bottom of the third here at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Yankees nothing and the Indians nothing.
This season, my teammates and I are going to work as hard as we can with hopes that our fans will log on to Yankees.com and vote for one of us as the Continental Airlines Work Hard, Fly Right Player of the Year. We're dedicated to putting in those extra hours on the field, in the clubhouse, and everywhere else. So log on to Yankees.com and be eligible to win a trip to a Yankees away game. Continental Airlines, work hard, fly right. It's my turn to mow the outfield.
It's a beautiful day here at Yankee Stadium. Some puffy clouds overhead, but nonetheless, it's been a great weekend. A little rain on Friday, but yesterday was great for Old Timers Day. Today, more of the same. And one of our large group, some of the luxury boxes here at the stadium. And this place is jammed. Every single seat that you could have, people are filling them. Soriano digs in against Jake Westbrook. There's a strike.
Soriano has homered in 2 of the games in this series. Now has a total of 24 on the year.
And the 0-1. Chases a pitch low and away in the count 0-2. Occasionally he will do that.
Chase a pitch low and away.
And occasionally he'll do all of that. Tied for second in stolen bases, tied for third in multi-hit games, tied for second in runs, 5th in hits, and he's tied for third with 24 home runs. And the 0-2. That's low and away. He doesn't chase. You have to give a lot of credit to Soriano. I think we just accepted that it should happen this way, but when Soriano started with the Yankees, he did not speak English, and he was very uncomfortable even trying. Well, he has worked at it, and now he conducts all of his interviews in English, and Susan interviewed him on the postgame yesterday, and he speaks delightful English, and I think he deserves a lot of credit. That's not an easy thing to do. Same thing with Hideki Matsui, who has really worked hard at it. The 1-2. Swing and a miss. It's in the dirt. Martinez will tag Soriano one away.
Probably the hardest language to learn. He said breaking ball down and away, as Michael said, he will chase those. That's the key to getting any hitter out, particularly an aggressive hitter. Get ahead and expand that strike zone, get them to chase.
So one away, and here's Derek Jeter. Jeter doubled to left field, right down the left field line. That was in the first inning. He did not score. We have no score here in the bottom of the third at the stadium. Casey Blake about even with the bag at third. I'd say 5 or 6 feet off the line. Milton Bradley is playing very, very shallow in center. Jeter can drive the ball over his head, and you know what? Coco Crisp is shallow and left as well.
Yeah, I love the way this outfield play. They play shallow because, as Kenny mentioned the other day, they're all fast. They could probably all play center field. And I think the reason they play shallow is they're comfortable going back on the ball. A lot of outfielders aren't.
I think you have 3/4 of a relay team out there.
That's about as shallow a center field that Bradley's playing as we see at Yankee Stadium. There's a strike. I know for a couple of years Lee Mazzilli was really trying to get Bernie Williams to play in. He said, anything over your head, I will take the responsibility. And since then, Bernie's backed up just a little bit. Lee Mazzilli, one of the Yankee outfielding, or the Yankee outfield instructor. And Jeter down on strikes. So 2 strikeouts for Westbrook on similar pitches.
Wow, who is this guy in Jake Westbrook's uniform? A different looking pitcher from what he has shown before in the big leagues. Carl Willis explaining how he's doing it.
Expanding the strike zone, getting ahead on the Kaat, and then getting both Soriano and Jeter.
With the Yankees 0-2, 10 earned runs in 6 2/3 innings. That was in 3 games. So not a long Yankee career. Jason Giambi pitches outside. Two men out, nobody on. And there's a strike, 1-1.
Sometimes this is where a pitcher can get careless. You know, he's had a pretty good inning to this point. Struck out the first 2 hitters, and he thinks he's just about out of the inning. And before you know it, you're down by a run.
Count 1-2.
Yeah, this is the situation. Mentioned Mike Mussina, a veteran, his last start up in Toronto. He had 2 strikes, 2 out. And I think the Blue Jays broke through for 4 or 5 runs in that inning and then blew it open.
Yankees have 2 hits. The Indians have 1. Yankees a pair of doubles. Fouled away, one by Jeter, one by his buddy Posada.
Westbrook tried to elevate that last fastball, and after the previous one was down. And if we watch Giambi enough during the course of the season, when he does strike out, usually it's on the high fastball. That's what he chases first time up.
And the 1-2. Line drive right at Sorensen. Almost handcuffed him. It was hit that hard. But a 1-2-3 inning for Jake Westbrook and the Indians. Well, we played 3 here at the stadium, 3 full, and there are only zeros on the scoreboard. Yankees nothing, and the Indians nothing. You're watching Yankees baseball on the Yankee Entertainment and Sports Network.
Your attention, please, ladies and gentlemen. Here's tonight's starting lineup on the Yes Network, the home of champions.
We go to the 4th inning. The Yankees and the Indians are scoreless, and it's the top of the Indian order. Coco Crisp leads it off against Mike Mussina. And there's a strike. Crisp actually had a single to left center. That was in the 1st inning. But he was promptly caught stealing a great throw by Jorge Posada. So because of that, and that's the only base runner allowed by Mussina, Mussina has faced the minimum 9 over the first 3. Good pitch on the inside corner at the knees in the count 0-2.
Precision control of the fastball by Mussina. Dropped the curve in for the first strike, and then the heater over the inside corner.
And the 0-2.
Visitation rights.
Mussina started the season 7-0 with a 1.70 ERA. That's in his first 7 starts. Boy, he looked lights out. He was the best pitcher in baseball. And then since that point, in 11 starts, 3-6 with a 4.42. It's, you know, we could sit here and try to be geniuses and try to explain, but I don't know if there is an explanation.
I think the explanation is what we saw in the last game against Toronto. That's why, you know, he is so intent on being precise with his control, and he won't deviate from it.
Line drive over the leaping try of Jeter into left center field. So the second base hit for Crisp. Bernie Williams gets the ball into Jeter, a leadoff single here in the fourth.
Kenny, I think we saw a prime example in this particular at bat with Coco Crisp, things I've talked about in the past where you get one pitch to hit during that bat, and Crisp, that was the one. Every other pitch had been pretty tough. Mussina dropped a nice curve on him, a fastball of the inside corner, then tried to get him to chase 2 pitches. And then he threw one that was towards the middle of the plate after the count had even up 2-2. In fact, it might have been a ball, but Crisp was able to put the bat on and pick up the base hit.
Let's see if Crisp tries to go again. Here's Casey Blake. Mussina thinking along those lines as he hustles Crisp back. Along with Jim Kaat and Ken Singleton, I'm Michael Kay. You're watching Yankees baseball on this Sunday afternoon on the Yes Network. We thank you for spending part of your Sunday with us. We appreciate it every time that you do. It's a scoreless tie here, top of the 4th inning at the stadium, as the Yankees go for the sweep over the Indians, a 4-game sweep. Snap throw by Posada, but getting back is Crisp.
Casey Blake at age 29 finally getting a chance to play every day. Another one of those Wichita State products. Here's the quick snap throw of Posada. He's on the backhand side of Giambi. No chance to get Crisp.
Blake had a couple of hits here yesterday, and I believe he had 6 hits in the Cleveland series when the Yankees were at the Jake.
That was the week, I believe, he was named American League Player of the Week. Talked to him about it today, and that's so true with a lot of players. They're just looking for an opportunity to play every day. He never had that chance with the Minnesota Twins.
Blake was 6 for 12 against the Yankees in a series that the Indians won 2-1. I always do wonder, you just mentioned, Jim, that he was just looking for an opportunity, and he hasn't become a star, but 270 is a nice player. You wonder how many guys out there that could be stars that just never get the chance, that they don't see. You know, the people that are in charge don't see it, and that's sad, because they're probably, as you said, a lot that never get a chance. Pitch out, nothing doing.
Well, it's not alone that they don't get a chance. Oftentimes there's a better player in front of them. You know, there's a lot of good players in the big leagues, and I mean, they're the best players available. So you might be in an organization where, you know, if you're a good shortstop right now, like Eric Almonte might be, he's not going to get a chance to play here.
Or any second baseman in the Yankee system behind Soriano.
Check swing, slow roller, first base side. Giambi flips to Mussina, who gets there plenty of time this time for the first out as Crisp moves to second.
You know, just to follow up on your point, Michael, with Mike Mussina, and the difference in comparing him with David Wells is such a, I think, a logical comparison, because Boomer's the kind of guy that will get some easy outs. You know, he'll improvise. He gets down to the bottom of the lineup and he's got a 6-0 lead. He'll say, here it is, go ahead and hit it. Mike, if it's the number 9 hitter in the 6th inning with a 3-run lead, is going to pitch just like he planned to pitch before the game in the scouting report. And sometimes when you don't deviate from that, you end up throwing 7 or 8 pitches to guys down the bottom of the lineup, and that hurts you.
Yeah, not only the scouting report, his own scouting report.
Right.
Here's Jody Garrett, pitches inside. And also, I would think that at this time, he's too old to break that. He's going to pitch. That's what he is.
I thought in watching Catfish's Yankeeography, which was terrific on Yes, that, and having played against and with Catfish, and knowing how simple he made it, and what a great pitcher he was, I thought it'd be real interesting to be in the middle in the dugout and have Catfish and Mussina on the same staff and listen to them, both of them talk pitching. You'd think they were in different sports. I mean, they're so totally different in their approach to how they go about it.
One, 2-1.
I remember hitters would come back to the bench and they'd say, wow, he took just a little bit off that pitch. And in those days, pitchers would hang together, you know, near the foul line and say, oh, how are you pitching this guy? And I'd say, Kaat, those hitters come back and they 3-2, you'll throw them they think you're throwing them that little changeup, you know, and he'd grin and laugh.
Hit sharply. Nice play by Giambi. He flips to Mussina. Good play, saving a run as Chris moves to third.
That's one of the few balls we've seen hit on the nose by Cleveland in the game today, and Giambi closes the hole with a nice stop down to a knee. Little 360 move, and Mike Mussina's over there once again. This is the third time in the game this combination has worked. 3-1 for a put out at first base.
Now Mussina has to deal with Milton Bradley. Swing and a miss. You know, one thing that we always heard about Jason Giambi when he came over as a free agent from the A's, bad first baseman. If you watch him, he's really not a bad first baseman. He's not going to make people forget Mattingly, but he's fairly sure-handed. The one problem he has is throwing the baseball, but he makes the plays around first.
He saved a lot of infielders' errors with those scoops. Anyway, Catfish would grin and laugh, and he'd say, you know, for pitching, it's 3-2, and you just don't put as much on that fastball as you do on, say, a 1-1 fastball. And the hitters give you a lot of credit for that.
Milton Bradley went for a little walk there, and I don't think the home plate umpire Jim Reynolds appreciated it. From Milton, anything close, it's game time.
Milton does not like to be toyed with like that. The 0-2, strike three right down the middle. Milton Bradley not happy at all with Jim Reynolds. I give Reynolds credit, though. He's walking away. Rather than toss him out, he just walked away because he didn't want to hear it. Was it a strike? Looked like one. Breaking ball dropping right down in the zone. One runner stranded. We go to the bottom of the fourth. No score.
Oh, look, it's the guy who falls. Fall now.
Oh, I don't really do that anymore. It's not like I got that insurance.
What insurance?
Aflac.
They pay you cash if you can't work when you get hurt. Not that I ever do. Aisle 5 under lingerie.
Price check.
Aflac. Ask about it at work.
Aflac.
Yankee fans, this is Michael Kay. Talk New York sports with me middays beginning at 10 on 1050 ESPN Radio. And on Wednesdays, listen at 12:05 for the Yes Network Yankee Report. Only on the new sound for New York sports. 1050 ESPN Radio. Go to the bottom of the fourth inning. It's time for the Aflac trivia question. Eddie Murray is one of 3 players in Major League history with 500 home runs and 3,000 hits in a career. Who are the other 2? I believe I know that one. You guys know
I
it?
think most baseball fans do.
Okay, next inning we'll tell you for sure. Goes up and in on Bernie Williams.
Maybe that's an answer for the one to Coco Crisp.
Could be.
Bernie's used to music, but not chin music.
Right.
There's a strike. No score, bottom of the fourth. Bernie calls time as Westbrook was in the middle of his windup. Hit sharply. Nice play there by Broussard. One away. So one down, and here is Hideki Matsui. Matsui flied out to fairly deep left field in the corner. Crisp ran it down. Now the last pitch of the top of the fourth inning was a called third strike against Milton Bradley. And I love to put these questions to Kenny and Kitty because one will take it from a batter's perspective and one from the pitcher's. I didn't think that there was any argument there. I don't know what Milton Bradley was arguing about. We'll take a look at that pitch and get Kenny and Kitty's take on it. Nub foul.
It's not only this one. I believe it's the one prior to this one as well. But, you know, once you argue on one and get an umpire riled up, anything close is going to be a strike on the next one. Game over for Milton Bradley.
The 0-1 outside.
And the backdoor breaking ball from the angle we had there. See, some umpires will call the strike where the catcher catches it. The ball might actually break around the plate, but where Posada caught it was on the corner. And they'll call that a strike. The flip side of that is there sometimes a catcher will catch a breaking ball a foot inside and they'll call it a ball when it actually did catch the corner of the plate.
I think for Bradley it's a combination of things. He's just struggled against the Yankees. He's 2 for 26 against the Yankees this year. And one of those hits, it was a home run here yesterday, but even so, 2 for 26. That can weigh heavily on your mind.
Count du jour. 3-2.
And here's the full count delivery. He walked it. Now Posada digs in with Matsui at first. Matsui can do some running. This could be a good hit and run combination. Open up a hole in the infield. Posada doubled down the right field line. That was in the second inning. No score. Each team with 2 hits and no runs.
You see how the infielder Sorensen at second pinch towards the bag. They're at double play depth. That leaves that big hole on the right side.
Staying away. Count 1-0.
I remember years ago playing in winter ball, and I had a chance to play for the great Roberto Clemente, who was my manager down in Puerto Rico, played for San Juan. And he reminded me that anytime you come up in a situation like this is when you want to try and pull the ball. Keep the ball away from the middle of the diamond, because that's where the double plays are.
Which is why you see Westbrook's pitches outside, and I think that's why we haven't seen Hideki try to run yet, because Joe Torre's saying, let me give Posada a couple pitches to pull it through that big area.
Yeah, here's where you're looking for Posada. You get a hard ground ball through here, you might chase a runner to third, but if you hit that hard ground ball towards the middle, even if it looks like it's going through the middle, second baseman has time to get over and get it and turn to double play. Of course, Clemente was a much greater hitter than most major leaguers, including myself, and I hit into certainly more than my share of double plays.
Matsui bluffed, and the count 3-0.
Jake Westbrook getting back to form after 3 very effective innings. Now his ratio starting to catch up, balls and strikes.
Green light on Posada here?
Yeah, I think if he's got one that he likes, middle in.
Outside and a walk, so 2 straight walks by Westbrook. He now has 3 on the afternoon, and that'll bring up Ruben Sierra.
And Carl Willis is going after the mound to remind me you're going to have to throw one over the plate eventually. Just try and make it in a decent spot.
You mentioned in the open in the scouting report, Kenny, that Westbrook is bat shy. That's why he has more walks and strikeouts and throws a lot of pitches. And Carl was schooled differently than that, was a different pitcher than that in Minnesota. And I think the more runners you get on like this, then the more bat shy a pitcher becomes, because now a leadoff home run's 1-0. A home run, now he's down 3.
Yankees 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position this afternoon. Sierra grounded softly to short. That was in the second. And again, with runners on first and second, the Indians pinch up the middle. This time, though, Broussard is not holding on the runner at first base, so they cover more of the right side. He's at least 6 in a row out of the strike zone. No action in the Indian bullpen. 1-0 pitch. Trying to hit the outside corner, and he's hitting the inside corner for a right-handed batter of the right-handed batter's box. Carl Willis is meandering toward that phone.
I saw him check the counter, too, see what the pitch count is, and it will tell him it's 66. 37 strikes, 29 balls. The balls are catching up to the strikes here. And if you're up Ruben Sierra, if this pitch hits the outside corner, you're going to take it, because Ruben is looking for one thing here. Something he can hit into the right field seats.
Gave him a strike there on that pitch on the outside part, and the count 2-1.
That's why he let it go.
Talking it over with Joel Skinner, the third base coach for the Indians.
I could read that body language from Carl Willis. He's talking to Joel Skinner.
Two-1. Fouled away.
See how he was taking his hand and going side to side. He said he's out there trying to hit corners, and he should be just trying to challenge and throw it in there, get ahead of hitters. And I think that's the message Carl tried to deliver him. But when you're on that mound, if you're bat shy and you're afraid of contact, I don't care what they tell you. It's just hard to talk yourself into throwing it over the plate.
Two. Again fouled away.
Sierra with the count now level at 2-2. At 2-0, he could afford to pick and choose what he wanted to swing at. Now at 2-2, he's going to have to fight a little bit more. And then you saw him foul off some tough pitches. And you might have to be willing to hit the ball over the shortstop's head, go to the opposite field to get your hit here. Good veteran hitter.
Yeah, he's done a better job of that from when his first go around with the Yankees, and after those first couple of years with Texas when he was such a great player, he got into a spell there where those last few pitches that he fouled off to the left, he'd been trying to pull those, and he'd either strike out or dribble him to second.
And he's in a situation where a single will do the job. It should score a run.
Hit sharply to second off the glove of Sorensen and into right field. Matsui scores. Posada goes to third. We'll see how they score it, but the score on the scoreboard, Yankees 1, Indians nothing. That's a double play ground ball, but hit very sharply.
Well, when you get the play maybe once or twice a week, as Sorensen does, you certainly don't want to make an error. Your playing time might go down even more than that. I would believe this is in major leagues, and that's going to be called an error as hard as the ball was hit. It was right at him. He couldn't get the glove, and that's what it's going to be. E4. No run batted in. When you hit something like that, you want to hit, but it was directly at Sorensen, and I can see why that was called an error.
So Sierra gets an E4 rather than a 4-6-3 inning-ending double play, so he's got to look at it that way. Here's Ventura with runners on the corners, 1 out. Fouled away.
Gone to a Louisville now. He went to the Matsui, then he had his own darker model. Now he's got the old standard traditional. Looks like that label says Louisville Slugger. Remember, for a long time, Kenny, Louisville Slugger, and what was the other one?
Adirondack.
Adirondack. And then along came Sam Bat, Mizuno, and KC Slammer, and whatever.
Well, there's a bunch of them now. I think that's one reason why you have better bats. I mean, to stay in business, some of these companies have to turn out the good product. Major leaguers will use it.
The Adirondack bat used to have that big blue stripe in the middle, right? I believe.
It depended on the match the team color. The Cardinals had the red, and the Astros had orange.
And then there was a Worth bat, and I think a Rawlings bat, right?
Yeah.
We should start our own bat company, the three of us, and call it Tremendous.
What Robin's looking for right now, what Robin is looking for right now is Wonder Boy.
Yeah.
He wants Robert Redford's bat.
Something to get him going.
Put out one of those lights over the right field upper deck. One-two. Hit sharply to short. This could be two again. There's one, and there is two. Might try another company after this. No runs, or one run, no hits, one error, and one man left. We played 4 at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. It's the Yankees 1 and the Cleveland Indians nothing. You're watching Yankees baseball on the Yes Network.
I'm Fred Hickman, the studio update brought to you by Nissan and your Nissan dealer. Boston and Toronto already underway. Pedro pitching in that one, scoreless game. And how about the Twins going for the sweep of the Oakland A's in the first inning? McCarty drives one into center, scoring the first run. Miguel Tejada with it, 1-0 A's. They had already beaten Hudson, Zito, and Mulder the first 3 games.
Fred, I'm going to tie it all together here. McCarty got that hit. He's from Stanford. And who's on the mound from the Yankees? A Stanford grad. It's all seamless.
Wow. Well, the other thing to tie together with that Twins going for the sweep over Oakland is there's the old on-base percentage theory. You know, in the Bill James abstract, get a lot of hitters on base percent. Why are they losing? All 3 of their pitchers got thumped in that series.
Right. And the Twins really needed to turn it around. They made a deal during the All-Star break, and so far they've come out of the gate pretty well. Jim Leyritz, who was a Old Timers Day participant yesterday, said that the Kansas City Royals and the Seattle Mariners are sniffing around, possibly sign him, play down the stretch. And of course, it would have to be the King that would play in an Old Timers game the same year that he plays in a big league.
Oh, sure.
But he told them, I'll go down. I'll play in AAA for 3 weeks for the express purpose of coming up. You tell me what, I don't want a lot of money. I just want to play. And those are the teams right now showing some interest.
Here's another one of those young hitters that has a good-looking swing in a hitter's count like this. He's dangerous.
Ben Broussard, the 3-1. Just missed. And that is the first walk issued by Mussina. Let's take a look at that Aflac trivia answer that I think everybody in our viewing audience probably knows. Eddie Murray, the hitting coach for the Indians, is one of 3 players in Major League history with 500 home runs and 3,000 hits in a career. Who are the other 2 players? And I guess it would be Aaron and Mays. Let's see if we could be wrong. Of course not. Hank Aaron and Willie Mays.
I had a nice talk with Eddie before the game today about his upcoming induction into the Hall of Fame. And I said, well, of course, it's well deserved. But I said, Eddie, you got your speech together. And he went, oh, I think he's not into pomp and ceremony and all that sort of thing. And I think after it's all over, he's going to feel a lot more relieved that, he's in the Hall of Fame. But he said that there's a golf tournament involved for the Hall of Famers. And, of course, the induction ceremonies and his speech. And, I'm going up to Cooperstown to see that next weekend.
Are you really?
Yeah. Good. Yeah.
High fly ball in the infield. Giambi fighting the sun. And that's a foul ball and the first out.
Yep.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the New York Yankees and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the aforementioned New York Yankees.
You know, as cool as guys try to be with that Hall of Fame, I have been at several inductions. First one was Casey Stengel and Ted Williams, 1966. But some of my former teammates, and as cool as you try to be, the Hall of Famers are all say, once you get up there, and you've got Yogi Berra and Whitey Ford and this cast of Hall of Famers sitting behind you, and then you look out at that crowd. Boy, it gets pretty emotional. The only one I've really seen go through it as cool as could be was the late Don Drysdale.
Here's Victor Martinez.
I was kidding Eddie. I said, how close are you going to have Earl Weaver sitting to you? Because for anybody who remember the Orioles in those days, Earl was the manager, and he could scream and yell, not only at the umpires, but his own team. The only player he never yelled at was Eddie Murray. The only one. And I think it's because he felt Eddie just would say, well, I don't feel like playing.
There's one, and there's two. An inning ending 4-4-3 double play. Nice easy inning for Mike Mussina. No runs, no hits, no errors, and Mussina survives the walk. And after 4.5, we're halfway through. Yankees won, and the Indians nothing.
A beautiful thing about women, they don't sweat like a guy.
New Arm & Hammer Ultramax Antiperspirant Gel.
It's made just for guys.
Superior odor protection versus the leading gel at 8, 12, even 24 hours.
That's all the muscle a man needs.
New Ultramax Gel.
We go to the bottom of the 5th inning here at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Yankees trying to sweep the Cleveland Indians. The last time they had a 4-game sweep of the Indians was in June of 1996. It was at Jacobs Field, and they completed the sweep with a Boringa Mendoza doubleheader sweep.
Wow. This is a big inning for Jake Westbrook. You know, this could be, if he wants it to be a turning point for him. His form says that about this inning and into next inning, he's going to hit the wall, and that's going to be it. So if he could work through the Yankees here in the 5th and 6th and keep it a 1-0 ball game, that'd be a big step up for him.
Mondesi leads off against Westbrook. The run on the board is an unearned run because of the error by Zach Sorensen. But you can't give all the blame to Zach Sorensen because Westbrook got into trouble by walking two.
Yeah, a walk for a pitcher is like an error on the pitcher. So, you know, he made 2 errors himself that inning.
Well, the Yankees are home for 4 more games after today. And coming up tomorrow night, the Toronto Blue Jays come to town. We'll get a chance to see Roy Halladay on Tuesday.
Ooh, nice matchup against Andy Pettit.
Tomorrow it's Jeff Weaver against Mark Hendrickson, who's coming up from the minor leagues. And then on Tuesday, Pettit against Halladay. Blue Jays can rake. They are quite a challenge for a team, and that's why Weaver's performance against them last Sunday was so impressive. The 2-2, a tie.
Don't have to throw to first base too often if they get on, according to that graphic.
They never run. They never run. They hardly bunt.
Yep, 16 stolen bases.
Another 3-2 count for Mr. Westbrook. And another walk. And leadoff walks are particularly painful. Westbrook knows he just made a big mistake. Also, got the top of the Yankee lineup coming up.
And he's got a man on first who could steal second, get himself around the bases. Mondesi stole a base yesterday. I'll make that hit a home run yesterday. His 15th. And that is the 8th time in his career. He's 15-15 on his way to another 2020 season.
Kitty, you know Carl Willis better than we do. Does he have that nauseous look on his face a lot?
Oh, you know, he's disturbed right now. Because that's one thing he's trying to do with these young pitchers is, you know, is teach them to challenge hitters. It's not that you don't respect hitters, but sooner or later you have to throw it over. You might as well do it sooner as later, because later is always 3-2 or 3-1.
See what happens here following a base on balls.
Fouled away.
That's why we've been talking so much about Quest Tech, and there was quite a story in the paper about it today. And to me, that's the real tool for baseball organizations. The real purpose for Quest Tech is to have it in spring training and teach pitchers how to just throw strikes. And like Kenny said, as a hitter, you can stand up there and learn how to recognize strikes.
Keeping Mondesi close. Indians get left-hander Alex Herrera up in the bullpen.
talked about Westbrook's ability to get ground ball. There's only been one fly ball out to the outfield. Matsui flied out to left field in the second inning. "16 ground ball double plays induced by Westbrook. That because of his sinking fastball. It includes the one today.
Moving out down the right field line, but that will slice foul into the seats. Take a look at Herrera. Yankees have seen him a couple of times over these 2 series. So one thing I don't like, or one of the things I don't like about the unbalanced schedule, a lot of the games are concentrated in the East. That's okay. But why should you play the one team that you play in the Central within a 10-day span and never see them the rest of the year? Why can't they split those series up?
Like Minnesota early in the year.
That's the way it's done.
Maybe the travel aspect. I mean, a lot of this, playing teams, most of the games in the East has to do with travel and saving money on distances and, having fans be able to see their team within their own time zone more often on television.
The 0-2. Still 0-2. Soriano today is grounded to third and struck out.
Working on a mild 3-game hitting streak. So he's had at least one hit in every game of this series. A couple home runs in this series.
24 on the year. He has 57 ribbies. Not bad out of the #1 slot in the lineup. Mondesi at first. And the 0-2. Soriano hanging in there.
Hitters can't protect both sides of the plate, or very few can. So unlike the last time, Westbrook with 0-2 has thrown 2 sinkers down in. He's fouled both of them up. You can almost book the fact that this is going to be that breaking ball down and away, maybe in the dirt. They run true to form. They tripled up. Third straight time they came inside.
Yeah, the problem with throwing that breaking ball in the dirt, you have Mondesi at first, and even if he blocks it, he might not be able to. Speaking of Martinez, the catcher might not be able to handle it cleanly, and Mondesi will find himself at second base. They want something away there. It looked like that's location.
One-two. Just got a piece to stay alive. Alfonso really uses that sweatband. That's not for looks. He really does use that.
Hope he never breaks his wrist pounding those things. He's got strong hands.
Westbrook really being deliberate. 1-2. Nice block by Martinez. 2-2.
Yeah, there's that pitch that we might have seen earlier. Breaking ball in the dirt. Well, Mondesi should have a pretty good read on Westbrook. This is the 8th pitch of the Soriano's at bat coming up here.
This will be Westbrook's 90th pitch. I love it when the pitchers step off and fake to first and the runner doesn't move.
Yep.
It's like the pitcher's going, aren't you afraid of me? goes. Pitches inside. The throw to second is not in time. Wide of the bag. Stolen base for Mondesi.
Now you could see that coming, couldn't you, Kenny? Eventually he was going to go. He saw enough reads. A lot of times when pitchers step off and don't throw, it's because they're afraid to throw over the first. They don't trust their control. Well, Mondesi gets a decent jump. Martinez delivers the ball, sails towards right field, and Mondesi's able to get in there and we're 17th stolen base of the year. Closing in on 2020.
Three-two. Boy, what a battle for Soriano.
When you see Jake Westbrook work the way he's working today, you really have an appreciation for the one time we got to see Brandon Clausen work for the Yankees. You know, a young pitcher. Not much younger than Westbrook, but a high percentage of strikes.
It's a 3-2 pitch on its way, but it's the 10th pitch of this at bat. It started off 0-2. And the 3-2 again. And another foul ball. You see this and you figure sooner or later the pitcher makes a mistake.
Even if he gets Soriano out, then Jeter's up next. Chances are that's going to be his last 2 hitters. I mean, he's in 4 innings with nobody out. He's already thrown almost a complete game.
He's going to need a breather after Soriano.
Got to be at about 100 pitches, I would think.
He's at about 93 right now. And the 3-2. Fist it to shallow left. Going to be a tough play. On the run is Blake. He can't make it, but it's in foul territory and a broken bat for Soriano. And this will be the 12th pitch when he finally gets back to the batter's box. Boy, that's a tough at bat. Usually pitchers throw about 120 pitches, and you're going to throw 12 to one guy.
Yeah, he's fouled off some tough pitches. You know, remember when Pedro Martinez was in here and hit both Alfonso and Derek Jeter? The experienced pitchers try to run that ball in on the hands of those first 2 Yankee hitters. Alfonso's just been able to fight them off.
There we go with the wrist pad.
And the 3-2. Sky to left. Giving chase is Crisp near the line. And he fights it into his glove, battling that tough left field sun for the first out of the inning as Mondesi heads back to second.
Crisp is walking away from this play like he's relieved he was able to make it. I mean, you see the glare off his glass, and that ball kind of rattled around in his glove, but he was able to hold on. Not a clean catch by any stretch of the imagination.
That's why outfielders use big gloves, right?
Yeah, it looked like one of my putts, really.
I tell you, that is not an easy field to play on a bright day like today.
That's what Crisp is looking at. Here's Derek Jeter. Derek is 1 for 2, doubled in the first and struck out in the third. Staying away from Jeter in the count 1-0.
You might want to keep an eye on Mondesi because with 1 out, he is more likely to try and steal third base. Even with the hot-hitting Jeter up, he feels he can get a jump here. You'll notice that Sorensen tries to feint him back to second.
Well, the old Cardinal rule is if you're going to make an out at third, you want it to be the second out. You don't want it to be the first or the third because you're not really gaining much making the first or third out at third base. But if he gets to third base with only 1 out, then he could score on a ground ball or a fly out.
Yeah, it would force the Cleveland ball club to bring the infield in.
Line drive into the seats. Herrera's just watching. He could come on to face Giambi. The 2-1. Line drive to center field. That is a base hit. Mondesi held up for a moment. He's going to round third. He'll stop right there. The throw comes all the way into Martinez. So a single for Jeter, and the Yankees have runners on the corners and 1 out.
I'm not sure that Mondesi would have scored on this ball because it was hit hard by Derek Jeter and directly at Milton Bradley, the center fielder. Mondesi held up initially because he wasn't sure if this ball was going to hang up long enough for Bradley to make the play. Now, once he hesitated, he was not going to be able to score. Willie Randolph holds him up. Runners at first and third. And a big RBI man coming to the plate.
And I think Martinez going to the mound only to buy a little more time. I mean, if you got Herrera warming up, I would assume you're going to bring him in to face Giambi. And, well, now Carl Willis is going out.
That is a little odd.
Well, it might be a case. See, they want to give him a chance to be a starter. So this might be one of those cases. I think I mentioned before, Jack McKeon, who's now the manager of the Marlins, was my playing manager in the minor leagues. And we're so into pitch counts these days, but situations like this in the minors, he'd come out and flip you the ball and say, well, figure out a way to get out of it. So they might try to figure out a way to see, let Westbrook see if he can work out of a jam. If this were a September game and the division was at stake for Cleveland, you'd see Herrera in here facing Giambi.
This could be a classic case of them willing to lose the battle to end up winning a war. They want to try to get themselves a starter out of this.
Well, Kenny mentioned, first of all, he's handled Giambi okay today, and Kenny mentioned that he's capable of throwing a lot of double play balls. And couple that with the fact that Giambi has started off this second half very well against left-hand pitching. So all those things are going through Eric Wedge's mind.
With Jeter at first, Broussard is holding, so Giambi has a big hole on the right side from which to shoot. And he goes left side, and a line drive right to the third baseman, Blake, who was playing him wide of the line for the second out of the inning.
Second time that Giambi is lined out to an infielder. The previous at bat, he lined out to second. This one kind of off the end of the bat, and for a moment looked like it might sneak into left field. But Casey Blake, the third baseman, is right on the spot, and there are 2 down.
So Giambi just misses his 80th run batted in. And here's Bernie Williams. Mondesi's at third. Derek Jeter's at first. We're in the bottom of the 5th inning. Yankees lead 1-0 over the Indians. Mike Mussina is spinning a shutout for the Yanks over the first 5. Westbrook has labored, but he's only given up 1 unearned run. Foul back. Might they send Jeter at some point? Maybe with 2 strikes he would go. And the count 1-1. With 2 strikes, if he goes, he gets thrown out. Well, Bernie gets a new count next inning. ...101 pitches for Westbrook. 61 strikes. Now it's 102 pitches. Still 61 strikes.
Facing guys like this when you're in the other dugout, you used to, on a day like today, one of the expressions would be he'd rather bite the head off a rattlesnake than throw a strike. He just wants you to chase those pitches out of the strike zone.
Ground ball to second. He will get out of it. They go the short way to get the force at second, and that'll do it for the Yankees in the 5th. No runs a hit, no errors, and 2 men left. We played 5 at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. It's the Yankees 1, the Indians nothing. You're watching Yankees baseball on the Yankee Entertainment and Sports Network.
News anchor and author Tom Brokaw discusses the national pastime.
When all else seems to be going wrong in the world, I can tune into a baseball game, and it restores my faith.
Center Stage, Tom Brokaw, tonight at 8.
Only on Yes.
Beautiful skies we've talked about all day, and you're not going to want to miss this Tuesday. Hope the skies are like that Tuesday night. First 18,000 fans 14 and under in attendance receive a Hideki Matsui bobblehead doll. And that's courtesy of Hormel and Land O'Lakes. Tickets going fast. Visit the stadium ticket window, clubhouse shops, Ticketmaster, or log on to Yankees.com.
We go to the 6th inning. Johnny Peralta against Mike Mussina, and there's a strike. There's Hideki.
I wonder if the bobblehead doll will have that little Godzilla on top of the cap. I guess it didn't have it in that picture like the fan did yesterday. They said very creative. Might be the next edition.
Think so? Next year's? Can you imagine how much that bobblehead doll is going to be worth in Japan? The ones that they give away here?
They'll be on eBay, I guess.
Oh, in a second. Probably by the 2nd inning. The 1-1.
I have a baseball signed by both Ichiro and Hideki.
Really?
Now, their personalities, you can tell by their autograph their personalities, because Hideki is very precise, takes his time, thinks things out, and you can read his signature legibly. Ichiro, who is a little more of a free spirit, has a bit of an edge to him. You couldn't tell that was anybody's name. I mean, and you know, they're writing it in English, and he just kind of scribbles across there. But there probably aren't a lot of baseballs with both of them. Maybe at the All-Star game some people got it.
You know, not that we want you to under any circumstance, but you sell that ball, you can retire.
Really?
It's worth some money.
I have no plans to do either one.
Good. On both. 1-0 Yankees lead. We're in the top of the 6th inning. Mussina's pitching a 2-hitter. And both of those hits have been picked up by Coco Crisp.
Combination of the good fastball, off-speed pitches, knuckle curve, knuckle change. Got full count on a leadoff hitter here in the 6th inning.
His 4th full count of the game, and he ends up with a foul tip strikeout into the glove of Posada. 1 away.
I think Mike Mussina plays on the aggressiveness of hitters as well as any pitcher in the league. That pitch was close, but I don't think it was a strike. And with a young hitter at the plate, not willing to be take a pitch and risk being called out on strikes, Peralta swings through it and strikes out.
Here's Sorensen, and he fouls it back.
Well, any big league hitter has a bat in their hand is dangerous. Whether you're experienced or not, you're up here. But when you look at the matchup, the experience and the skill and the control of a Mussina, you know, this is a real mismatch, him against this lineup, because they have, what, 6 rookie hitters in the lineup.
Nice pitch, 0-2.
In the minor leagues, a lot of these hitters are facing pitchers that have one dominant pitch, and then maybe they can get a 2nd or a 3rd over. But here you got a guy who can get 4 of them over at almost any time.
The 0-2. Fly ball, right center field. Mondesi. 2 away.
It was the same sort of pitch that Peralta struck out on the previous hitter. You know, looks like a strike, but really isn't. I mean, that's up, maybe in a little bit. But a young hitter not willing to be called out on strikes is swinging. 0-2, I got anything near the strike zone, I'm going after. You know, I'm more of a veteran hitter. And here's the pitch to Peralta. I mean, that's not a strike. But they don't want to be called out on strikes.
Here's Crisp. Hot shot to second. Soriano to Giambi. And for Mike Mussina, 1, little 2, little 2, little 3 little Indians in a row. We go to the bottom of the 6th. Yankees 1 and the Indians nothing. Hit it, kill one.
On the Emmy Award-winning Yankeeography.
Mariano Rivera playing catch with milk cartons. These kids are playing for the love of the game.
I don't think there's anything in this game that he couldn't do.
Yankeeography Mariano Rivera. Tonight at 9, only on Yes.
Throwing strikes, but the bottom line is 5 innings he gave up 1 unearned run. That's not that bad.
Yeah, they stretched him out, and I think the encouraging thing for Westbrook is, despite the fact that he nibbled a lot, he did pitch out of a first and third 1-out jam. So they got basically a complete game out of him, and the Indians have brought in the left-hander Alexander Herrera. The Yankees have certainly seen a lot of him in these back-to-back series that they've had.
He's got good stuff. 5 hits in 7 innings, 3.86 ERA. This will be his 10th appearance. Now, what did we mention? The fact that they've 11 or 12 rookies on their team. Herrera falls into that category. And he's, a young hard thrower out of the bullpen, lefty. It can go not really a matchup pitcher at this stage of his career. It's somebody you'd let go 1 or 2, maybe 3 innings in a ball game.
Indians have used, I believe, over 20 relief pitchers, more than anybody in baseball. I think the count is up to 21.
Hideki Matsui will lead off here in the 6th as the Yankees try to build on a 1-0 lead. So Westbrook goes 5 and Herrera starts here in the 6th. Up and in, 1-0. Matsui flied to left and walked and scored the Yankees' only run. That was in the 4th inning.
Hideki walks in with the longest Yankee hitting streak at the moment. He's hitting 7 straight games. So for about a week now, he's had a hit in every game.
1-1. Staying away from Matsui in the count 2-1. Good hitters count now at 3-1. Along with Jim Kaat and Ken Singleton, I'm Michael Kay. You're watching Yankees baseball on the Yes Network on a beautiful Sunday afternoon. Yankees are leading 1-0, trying to complete a 4-game sweep of the Indians. The 3-1. Oh, way high, and Matsui walks. Second walk for Matsui today.
Yeah, that at bat was an example of what Kenny referred to with the Indians hitters being inexperienced, and Don Mattingly brought that out yesterday of Matsui's discipline. You know, there were a few close pitches there, but he didn't offer at them. Pitches that a less experienced hitter, even though he is a rookie, we know he's an experienced player, would have probably swung at.
Yankees with 3 switch hitters in their lineup today, including Posada, Sierra, and Bernie Williams. That's like having a 6 hitters instead of 3. You know, some other managers might have to make some moves to the bench, but Joe Torre's got 3 moves built into his lineup.
Pitch to Posada's low. Jason Boyd warming up for the Indians. Yankees saw him earlier in the series. So Herrera comes in and can't throw strikes. Martinez goes out the top.
And eventually, as we mentioned before with Westbrook, you're going to have to throw it over the plate. Westbrook walked 4 in his 5 innings.
Eric Wedge is not going to be the youngest manager at the end of the season.
Well, I think he understands this. You know, they're trying to find out. That's why they've gone through over 20 of them. They're trying to find out if they've got anybody that can come in and do a good job.
That one's hit deep to left center field, giving chase Crisp and Bradley, both on the run, both looking up. See ya! A 2-run home run for Jorge Posada, and the Yankees lead 3-0.
Well, Kenny, what we say, eventually you got to throw one over the plate. And much too fat for Jorge Posada as he touches it off. And the Yankees increase their lead to 3-0 on Posada's 18th home run of the year. Over the .399 sign in deep left center field.
Here's Sierra, fouled straight back here.
Fell behind in the count and had to come in with a fastball in the hitter's zone.
Well, if you had Jorge Posada in the home run pool today, you are a happy person.
Ground ball to third off the glove of Blake and into left field. They might score that a hit, certainly a playable ball, but we'll see what the official scorer says. Sierra's reached on an error before on E4 in the 4th inning. Let's see what happens here.
Can he have it ruled against him twice in a day? And this ball is scorched like the previous time when he hit the ball to second baseman. Yeah, they're going to give him a base hit. 1 out of 2 is not bad.
Should have been handled, but they give him 1 out of 2.
There's Ventura. There's a strike.
It's what happens when you're in a slump. Everybody else, Herrera comes in, can't find the strike zone. When you're in a slump, they're all good pitches, aren't they?
That first one's right in there.
Right on the corner.
Well, a 1-0 game, a little more breathing room for the Yankees. Now it's 3-0. And Herrera has not done the job. One pitch. Foul back.
Different bat again for Robin. That's the best swing he's had in a long time. Third at bat, and I think it's his third different bat. Searching for one that feels right to him. Fouled straight back. That always tells you the hitter was on time. Another good swing.
Herrera's coming in. The pitches are a little bit up in the strike zone. One to Posada was right there to be hit. And these last 2 swings by Ventura right there.
Might be the bat he's looking for.
One, 2. A little bit low, 2-2. Still nobody out here in the bottom of the 6th. Yankees 3, the Indians nothing.
Tools of a pitching coach: pitch counter and stopwatch.
And the count 3-2.
What could pitching coaches do before they used all those things? You know, just you went by feel.
Yeah, you just wide. Hey, come on, get it over now. Let's go. That's what you cheered for.
And they use their fingers and toes.
Hey, 3-2.
3-2, way outside. He walked. So you come in, or you bring a guy in to get out lefties, and he walks Matsui and he walks Ventura, and the 2 switch hitters get base hits, and Eric Wedge has seen enough. Thank you. Have a good day. So Wedge is going to call on Boyd. Wedge takes the ball from Herrera. You stay right here, though, because we'll come back with Boyd against Mondesi. we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Yankee fans are happy right now. Yankees are leading 3-0 as the Indians go to Jason Boyd in relief of Alex Herrera, who did not do the job. You see the numbers on Boyd, and the battery for the Indians right now, Boyd and Martinez, before the Old Timers Day ceremonies yesterday, sheepishly walked across the field toward the Yankee dugout, and you can see they're looking around and they're looking for somebody. Then they finally spot Mattingly, and they shyly thrust 2 baseballs at Mattingly and asked if he could sign it. Mattingly signed it. They kind of scampered away like little kids, how happy they got Don Mattingly's autograph. So let's see if Boyd can make his own memories right now against Mondesi. Runners on 1st and 2nd and nobody out. 2 runs already in on the Posada home run, his 18th of the year.
Kitty, did I hear you mention that Boyd was related to Oil Can?
He's Oil Can's nephew.
Kind of built like Oil Can.
Taller.
Not as animated as
Yeah, he was fun to watch for a while.
Yeah, he was.
A couple of fans at the game.
Dennis Oil Can Boyd.
Popped up behind the plate. Martinez gives it a look, and that's all he'll give it as it makes the stands.
You know how Oil Can got the nickname Oil Can?
Yeah.
In college, you know, they call beer oil. So Oil Can, you know, he finished off a lot of them. So I guess it was Oil Can Boyd.
Really?
The smaller fans here.
So John Sterling's nickname should be Martini Sterling? Is that it?
Boy, you can tell this game is dragging.
Okay, I wanted to. 3-0 Yankees.
I feel for these position players for the Indians. You know, we've seen a couple of the good performances by their starters, Sabathia for a while, and particularly Jason Davis.
Slow roller back to Boyd. He has 1 play, that's at first, and he almost threw it away, but a nice play switching the feet by Broussard as the runners move up, 1 down.
You stand out there on a hot day like today, and every pitch 3-2, 3-2, ball 1. That's not fun for a position player. That's how you. That's why the Yankees, and we've heard Paul O'Neill tell us here in the booth how much fun it is to play behind David Wells.
I was talking to some of the Yankee old-timers yesterday about Whitey Ford, as Carl Willis will go out and talk with Boyd. Probably ask him, would you rather pitch to Soriano or Jeter? They could walk Soriano and set up the double play, but every guy I spoke to on the 50 and 60 Yankees, they said the reason we love to play behind Whitey Ford, he didn't mess around. He took the ball, he threw it. Right. We didn't get bored out there. We were ready to make plays for him because we wanted to make plays for him because he wasn't killing us by taking a minute between pitches.
Right. The whole idea is work fast, throw strikes, get back in the dugout and give your team a chance to score runs.
Change speeds and use the theory that it's a round ball and a round bat and it's tough to hit it square.
All right, what would you do now? Would you walk Soriano?
Well, he's a free swinger, so it'd be tough for a guy like Boyd to ask him to pitch around him. They probably just went out and told him what to start him off with, maybe throw him a lot of breaking balls.
Well, they will pitch to him because they bring the infield in. Runners on 2nd and 3rd. Soriano's 0 for 3 today. Line drive down the left field line. That is a foul ball. He missed a bases clearing double by inches.
Boyd immediately calls out Martinez. He wants to talk to him.
He's saying, please don't call that pitch again. You really, if you're Eric Wedge, it's hard to walk the bases loaded with a bullpen that you can't trust they'll throw strikes.
And plus, if you do, you're bringing up maybe the hottest hitter in the league in Derek Jeter. And with a poor chance of doubling him up to begin with.
Trying to stay inside and the count 1-1.
See the infield in there. Indians can't afford to give up another run.
Popped up foul. The count now 1-2. Soriano is now 5 for his last 31, and his average has dropped under 290. He's at 289. So he has been in a little bit of a slide. Maybe one of the reasons they're going after him, as Jim said, the inability to throw strikes. The 1-2 hit sharply inside third and down the left field line. Sierra scores. Ventura scores. It's a 2-run double for Alfonso Soriano, and the Yankees lead 5-0.
Well, he tried to get it down the line with his first swing and just missed. This ball is much too hittable. Soriano up on top of the plate could pull that outside heater and runs it between the bag and Casey Blake. Third base umpire Jim Joyce with the call, and this is going to be 2 more runs for the Yankees. Infield in, and a couple of runners going to score, Sierra and Ventura, and the Yankees are now up 5-0.
And here's Derek Jeter. He's 2 for 3, the hottest hitter in the month of July in the bigs. Pitches low. Now the line on Alex Herrera has now been completed. 4 batters faced, 4 runs, 2 walks, 2 hits, no innings. That's not going to help it.
It's not a good day.
Earned run average going to take a hit.
And his earned run average for today is the number 8 on its side, infinity. If you don't have an out, you can't calculate an earned run average.
I had a teammate that has that. There's July's AL leaders by a wide margin. Derek Jeter over Suzuki, Veritek, Miller, and Matos. Luis Matos having a nice year for the Baltimore Orioles.
You have an infinity teammate? Lifetime?
Yep.
Really? Line drive to right center field. That is another base hit for Derek Jeter. It splits the outfielders and it goes to the wall. Soriano scores. Jeter thought about third. He'll stop right there with an RBI double. The Yankees are pulling away. They lead 6-0.
Well, Eric Wedge hasn't seen much relief out of his bullpen. Back-to-back doubles. Soriano drives in 2 runs, and Derek Jeter's about to trade places with Soriano at second base. Booming shot to the gap, his second double of the day and 15th of the year. And the Yankees now lead 6-0.
3 hits for Jeter, his 7th 3-hit game of the season. So Soriano with a run scored, also picked up RBIs 58 and 59 for Jeter, his 28th ribby. And Giambi calls time. Looks like a B is around home plate. So what's the name of the teammate with Mr. Infinity, we'll call him?
I'll tell you in a minute.
Oh. Okay. It's just
Kenny's old team, the Orioles, they had a first baseman named Jim Gentile, Diamond Jim Gentile, and he hit back-to-back grand slams in the first inning and the second inning off the Minnesota Twins in '61.
Off this pitcher.
He hit one off Paul Giel, who did pitch for a while, was an outstanding football player at University of Minnesota as well. But then there's a right-hand pitcher from Sleepy Eye, Minnesota, named Fred Bruckmauer.
They're going to intentionally walk.
Sleepy Eye now. Is that near Minneapolis?
It's somewhere up there in the Northeast, in the Midwest. But he is in a book. There's a book out called Cup of Coffee, which is the old baseball term for guys who have had a brief fling in the major leagues, and that's it. And he's in that book, and to my knowledge, he's the only pitcher that has an ERA of infinity. Never did get anybody out.
Might as well do something that's never been done.
Right. That coffee was still hot when he left, wasn't it?
That was a demi-tasse.
Yeah.
There's Bernie Williams. There's a strike. The career line on Bruckmauer. No innings pitched, 3 earned runs, 3 hits, 1 walk. So one of his base runners didn't score.
Yeah.
6-0 Yankees here on a Sunday afternoon. Lofted to left field. Crisp is there toward the line again, shading his eyes and fighting that one right into the glove again for the second out of the inning. I think Sleepy Eye is the next town over from Pink Eye, but nobody likes to go to Pink Eye.
Actually, Sleepy Eye is near a town that produced an outstanding big leaguer. It's near New Ulm, Minnesota, and that's the town that produced Terry Steinbach.
Coco Crisp, you know, he doesn't want to anything towards the foul line that he's chased down. He's had problems with today.
Here's Matsui, 0 for 1 with 2 walks. Big healthy cut, 0-1.
Matsui's walk that started this inning off. He eventually came around to score.
Yankees have batted around in this inning for the 22nd time this year, and this is their 12th 5+ run inning, turning a 1-0 game into a 6-0 game. A little more relaxing for the Yankees and Joe Torre. A long inning though for Mike Mussina, where he's waiting for the offense to finish. It's not finished yet. A base hit for Matsui. Here comes Jeter. Here's the throw. Jeter's in there. An RBI single for Hideki Matsui. He extends his hitting streak, and the Yankees now have a 7-0 lead.
Matsui is now hit in 8 straight games, and this will chase home Derek Jeter from second base. Willie Randolph didn't hesitate, even with Garrett's strong throwing arm, and the throw is just about there, but a little up the line, and Jeter off and running with 2 outs on the crack of the bat, and here he comes. Derek is going to score. Oh, isn't that nice?
So Posada has a chance to do something that not too many switch hitters do. Get a home run from either side in the same inning.
I think Carlos Baerga's the only one to do it.
Really?
Yeah. Did it for Cleveland years gone by.
Did Bernie ever do it? I know he's done it in the same game, but I'm wondering about the same inning.
I don't think it was the same inning.
Count 1-2.
Games like this show you really what the Yankees' success is depended on in the last 7 years, and really what you have to have these days to win is you've got to have a deep bullpen. If you don't have any, you know, yesterday Boomer gives up 4, he shuts him down, but it's a 1-0 game. You don't have any guys that can come out of the bullpen and keep it close. Boy, that is demoralizing to a ball club. And the Yankees went through that early in the year.
So Posada strikes out, but the Yankees have themselves quite an inning. They score 6 runs on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 hits, and 2 runners are left. It all began with this swing. Jorge Posada with his 18th home run of the year. We go to the 7th. 7-zip Yanks. Coco Crisp is the only guy who's been invited to the party. He has 2 hits. Everybody else zeros, right down from 2 through 9. So Mike Mussina has done a very, very nice job. He's issued 1 walk, and that was to Ben Broussard. And Mussina pitching a 2-hit shutout. He leads 7-0. Casey Blake leads off, and the pitch is inside.
Be released from the same place every time.
There's a strike.
Yeah, it might have been a long wait, but pitchers will take those runs.
Oh, yeah. Actually, for a starting pitcher, this is your favorite kind of game. Out of the opposition, those late strikes.
And the count 3-2.
But see here, that pitch right there is an example to me of how Mike Mussina sticks to his plan. If Catfish Hunter right now with a 7-0 lead and a 2-2 count to Casey Blake, it's going to be a fastball right in there and say, here it is, hit it if you can.
So hit a fly ball to Bernie Williams, yeah.
But Mike threw him a 2-2 breaking ball, ran the count full, and he's zoned into, regardless the score or the inning, this is how I'm going to attack this hitter.
Roger Clemens looking on. He picked up a win on Friday night. And the 3-2. Line drive, base hit through the left side of the infield for Casey Blake. Leadoff single here in the 7th. Hey, Yankee fans, Yankees.com shop has the best selection of Yankees gear, including caps, pullovers, and lots more. Visit Yankees.com and shop online today at the official site of the New York Yankees.
Yesterday we had the Old Timers Day, and a lot of the former Yankees who had played in many of the Yankee championship years and World Series. And you know, I was reading, doing some research. I found out that there are only 2 teams that have hosted both the All-Star Game and the World Series in the same season more than once. And it's Cleveland and the Yankees. Cleveland twice in 54, 97, and the Yankees 3 times, 39, 1939, 1960, and 1977, hosting both the All-Star games and the World Series in the same season more than once.
You know, one of the fun things about that All-Star game yesterday, the Old Timers game yesterday too, is the stories and the memories that are triggered when you run into former players. I ran into Big Cliff Johnson, outstanding pinch hitter with the Yankees, and
that could hurt.
Yeah, well, I met him. And the first words out of his mouth when he saw me was, "Oh no." And I thought for about 10 seconds, and then I said, "Oh yeah, I remember. Well, I'm pitching against Houston when Cliff was with the Astros and I was with the Phillies, and had a 0-0 game, 7th inning, 2 out. I'd thrown him about 12 pitches, slow curves, all kinds of trash that I could throw. Couldn't get him out, and so I threw him a fastball, and as soon as I let it go, it did not have a good feel, and I hollered, "Oh no!" And the next sight was bouncing off the wall over the left field. So the first time he saw me, he said, "Oh no!" But you know, Brian Doyle, the former Yankee second baseman, was here for Old Timers Day, and he has a, you know, he and his brother, they have a baseball school, and now they're actually trying to put together an online college for professional athletes that have, like I mentioned, Fred Bruckbauer had a cup of coffee but didn't have a long career, and you want to know what to do when your playing days are over. They're trying to get accredited where you could actually take courses online and get your degree and qualify, you know, for something to do.
Here's the 1-2 to Garrett. Strike 3. Garrett down looking. Boy, the economics degree just winning out big over the U.S. and Russian history degree at Stanford.
That history cannot help you hit that knuckle change or knuckle curve.
Well, after this pitch, he is history. 5 strikeouts now from Mussina. And Garrett came in here with a 5-game hitting streak. I was talking to Eddie Murray about Garrett, and I said, he looks like he's going to be a pretty good hitter. And Eddie says, when you throw what he's looking for, and you get it in the wrong spot, he can hit it well.
Milton Bradley lines one to Matsui, and Bradley is now 2 for 27 in the 7 games against the Yankees. He's 0 for 3 today. So 2 down. That'll bring up Ben Broussard. Struck out in the 2nd and walked in the 5th.
So from what Eddie was saying about Garrett, it's almost like he's like Mike Mussina. He's got a plan when he gets up there. He's not going to deviate from it while he's in the box.
It's something about Stanford. You know, we don't say that obviously to make fun of Stanford, because you have to be an awfully good student. Tiger Woods went to Stanford, but it points out that sometimes the thoughts that you use to get a college degree don't necessarily pertain to what you do out in the baseball field. Most of this is reflexes, reaction, instincts.
I anticipation.
Line drive to left field by Broussard right in front of Matsui. So a 2-out single moves Casey Blake to second. And the Indians have a little bit of a rally going with Travis Hafner coming to the plate.
And a lot of it is the psychology end, and that's where the the Billy Beans and the Bill James and the J.P. Ricciardis, the fashionable thing these days is to look at on-base percentage and runs scored and all those kind of things. But out between the lines, it's really a mind game. Like for a pitcher, you get in situations like this, and you have to say, this is the last out of the game. This is the last out of the game right here. I really have to get this guy. If you don't keep talking to yourself and pumping yourself up, keeping yourself in the moment, things slip away. That's what happened to Mike in the Toronto game.
It's to Hafner. Check swing, but he went around. The count 0-1.
Hafner was up early in the season. Was sent back to the minor leagues, recalled recently because Matt Lawton went on the DL with a dislocated finger.
One of only 14 players in big league history is coming from that baseball hotbed, North Dakota. Darren Erstad and Rick Helling, 2 others that are active. The crowd with the moose call. First and second, 2 outs. Andy, 0-2. 1-2. The 1-2 pitch. Holds up on a pitch, diving down and in at the feet, and the count 2-2. Nothing Yankees, top of the 7th here at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Crowd of 51,891. Walked through the turnstiles today. And the 2-2. Fisted up the middle, and that is going to go through and break up the shutout. Casey Blake rounds third. He'll head home. Moving to third is Ben Broussard. An RBI single for Travis Hafner. And the Yankee lead is now 7-1.
That'd probably allow Joe Torre or Mel Stottlemyre to go to the telephone. You wouldn't take him out with a shutout. This little jam shot didn't quite get it in as far as he wanted to, and Hafner fought it off.
And not well hit, but well placed through the middle. The only person who had a chance was the second base umpire. This ball will scoot into center field, and Cleveland's on the scoreboard.
Mariano now positioning outfielders. Martinez takes a strike.
Got to come up with all kinds of games on a day like today out there, has how the game is dragged after the first few innings. So who knows what they're playing.
This game's certainly not the one for the time capsule.
No.
Yeah, having never sat in a bullpen in my career, I have no clue as to what goes on out there.
Wow. You spend a lot of time out there. Sometimes you dig a little, like you'll dig a hole in the ground out in front of the bullpen, and everybody gets a handful of rocks, and you see who can flip them in that little hole. Or you play games like alphabet. You start with A. Okay, start naming players with A. Aaron, Adcock, Altobelli, and you keep going around with everybody in the bullpen until nobody can come up with an A. And then he loses. That's a point. B, etc. Take you a long time to go. A day like today would be a good day for alphabet.
Yeah, they'd be down to right. X, Y, and Z right now. Zernial,
Zeal, and Zuberang.
Zito.
Yeah.
Well, the old 96 Yankee team, they used to chew wads of gum until it got really sticky and gooey, and then they would fire it at each other, see if it would stick on the jackets.
Really?
Yeah.
Like paintball?
Yes.
Well, that's the modern relievers.
2-2. Lofted down the left field line. That is going to be a base hit in front of Matsui. Broussard scores. Hafner moves to second. It's an RBI single for Martinez. And the Yankee lead is now 7-2. And maybe, just maybe, that lengthy bottom of the 6th inning got Mussina just a bit out of sync.
I don't. He had hitters in position this inning to put him away. They've taken a couple of pitches that were, the one they just dribbled through the infield. And that was a good pitch there. He took the other way. That's why sometimes, as hard as you try to make perfect pitches, the old catfish Fergie Jenkins philosophy, and Whitey Ford would do the same thing. Hey, here it is right down the middle. Hit it. When you throw it with that kind of attitude, a lot of times you'll get some pop-ups and you get out of the inning.
Chris Hammond now has got to leave that game that they were playing and start warming up. So Mel Stoudemire has his say with Mussina. And now Mussina will deal with Johnny Peralta. Mussina started this inning with 70 pitches. He's now at 93. Runners on first and second, 2 outs, 2 runs in. And the pitch. Low and away, 1-0. Well, in a game that's had very little juice, very little reason to bite your nails, Mike Mussina's trying to turn it into a bit of a nail biter. And a 1-0. There's a strike. Good pitch under the hands right on the inside corner, 1-1. Swing and a miss, 1-2. And again, the crowd firing up the Moose call. One-two. Slow roller, third base side, but foul.
This guy put some pretty good swings on 2-strike at bats for a 21-year-old. Having a good series, looks good in the field. Omar Vizquel, we say he's due back maybe 10 days or a couple weeks. But
originally they thought he'd be back sooner, but it's not the case. And Peralta, we saw him at Cleveland at third base for a game, and now at shortstop since then. They're pretty strong.
Hafner's on second, Martinez at first. The 1-2 to Peralta. Lined into left center field. That is going to be a base hit for the young shortstop. Hafner rounds third. He'll score. Moving to third is Martinez. It's an RBI single for Johnny Peralta. And the bottom is dropped out for Mike Mussina. Yankee lead is now 7-3. 4 straight 2-out singles. And the Indians have played at 3 and looking for more.
And all of them, he had pitcher's counts. He had 2 strikes. Johnny Peralta fouled off a good pitch and ends up with an RBI on the next one. And that'll be all for Mike Mussina.
So Mussina pitching a 2-hit shutout coming into this inning. Has given up 5 hits, 3 runs, and there are 2 runners on base. So Joe Torre wants the ball from Mussina. The crowd is going to give him a pretty nice ovation. Although they're obviously cheering for the first 6 innings, not this one. Joe signals for Hammond. Hammond against Sorensen when we get back. Stay right here on Yes. That adorable little Yankee fan, her name is Patricia Marie Smith, and she's celebrating her 4th birthday here at Yankee Stadium. And if you recognize Patricia, well, she was on every front page of every paper in this world. She was the little girl in a long dress wearing the New York Police Department Medal of Honor at ceremonies honoring those who died at the World Trade Center on 9/11. And her mom, Maura Smith, was a police officer who was killed at the World Trade Center. So that was Patricia Marie sitting on her dad's lap, her dad Jim. And we send our hearts out to them, and we wish her a happy, happy birthday. She deserves it, and happy birthday, Patricia Marie. Mike Mussina will watch the remainder of this inning from the bench. Ryan Ludwig is going to pinch hit for Zach Sorensen, and it'll be Ludwig against Chris Hammond. Runners on the corners and 2 outs. A little bit inside.
Cleveland just acquired Ludwig. As we look at the numbers for Chris Hammond at ERA, very respectable. Good control, 31 strikeouts, only 7 walks in 40 and a third innings. Ludwig coming over from Texas organization. And Cleveland sending former Yankee Shane Spencer down to the Lone Star State.
I spoke to Shane on Friday afternoon. Now, he was traded Friday night. He said, boy, I don't want to be traded from here. This is a perfect situation for me. And he was for Ludwig, who pops it up to right field. Mondesi battling the sun. He'll put it away for the final out of the inning. So Chris Hammond comes on and does a nice job and gets Mike Mussina out of further trouble. So the Indians score 3 runs on 5 hits and 2 men left. At the end of 6½, get up and stretch. It's the Yankees 7 and the Indians 3. And while you're standing, why don't you remain standing and honor America by listening to the voice of Yankee Stadium, Bob Shepard.
As we remember the service men and women who are stationed around the globe, and also remember those who have lost their lives defending our freedom and our way of life. Now, please join Kate Smith as she sings God Bless America.
Fred Hickman, the studio update brought to you by your Tri-State Quality Ford store. Red Sox trying to earn a split in their 4-game set with Toronto, bottom of the 3rd, breathing room. Former Red Sox John Wasden pulverized. Nomar grills a 3-run blast into the small colony of fans beyond the center field wall. A real stinger. That makes it 4-0 in favor of the Red Sox. Toronto's here tomorrow. Yanks see Pedro in Boston this coming Friday. But right now, back to our special K's in the Bronx. Michael, Kitty, and Kitty.
Well, thank you, Fred. So the Red Sox looking for the split, and John Wasden, well, he's getting a second chance in the big leagues. He's not making the most of it.
Talking to Mike Pagliarulo about him yesterday, mentioned Mike and Willie Frazier and Brian Harvey have this kind of a scouting combine where they scout guys in the minor leagues and make recommendations. And Wasden looked so good in the minor leagues, he'd added a little splitter, but that fastball has no movement in the big leagues. And I think the Yankees touched him up, and now the Red Sox.
Rafael Betancourt, the 4th pitcher used by Eric Wedge, and the Indians a inch closer. It's a 7-3 game as we go to the bottom of the 7th.
Yeah, Wasden had been in the Pittsburgh organization, and Blue Jays sent a young outfielder, Rich Thompson, to Pittsburgh, who had been playing at AAA.
Pitch is a strike. New second baseman for the Indians as well, John McDonald. Remember, Sorensen got pinch hit for. There's John in Lyme, Connecticut. The 0-1, way outside.
Talking about old timers day yesterday, and our bullpen coach from back in those days of the 70s and 80s, Dom Scala. Dom was here, threw some BP, and he is now the head baseball coach at Adelphi out in Garden City.
Yeah, Dom was up in the booth briefly yesterday.
Ground ball, diving stop there by Broussard. It rolls off his glove. He fires the first, not in time. And Sierra and Betancourt run into each other. And they will give Sierra a base hit.
Looked like Betancourt got the worst of this collision. First of all, Sierra tries to drag this one down the first base line, and Broussard puts a glove on it, can't come up with it cleanly. Now the race is on. And there's the collision at first base. As Sierra's going to leg out an infield hit. His second hit of the afternoon. He tried to put on the brakes. Oh, that could have been dangerous. Looked like he ran up the back of his right heel or leg.
Well, Betancourt's okay, and so is Sierra. So Sierra picks up his second base hit. And here is Ventura. Now you see Wasden, who did well in AAA for the Pirates, come up, and you see that a lot. Is there that much of a difference between AAA and the bigs?
Yeah.
Hitters and pitchers?
Not necessarily, not only the physical skills, but you know, the mental aspect of it too. Big hurdle to get over.
You know, as you move up the ladder in organizations from low A to high A to double A to triple A, you know, those jumps are, you know, they're pretty substantial, but the biggest jump still is from triple A to the major leagues. And even bigger jump from double A to, although a lot of teams put their up-and-comers at double A.
Yeah.
Line drive, base hit for Ventura. So he finally finds a bat that works. Yankees have runners on first and second and nobody out.
Yeah, I think that's the same bat he drew the walk with in the last at bat. So let's see. Yep. We'll stick with that one for a while.
Solid line drive single. Watch him go out and get this one. It just, the ball's kind of away, and he's still able to pull it. Sweet swinging, Robin Ventura. Maybe a little more music coming off that bat. Solid contact on a base hit in the right field.
Well, he was one of those players, Kenny, referred to guys coming up from Double A. I think the White Sox back in the early 90s, and they had such a good team, called up Robin and Frank Thomas and Alex Fernandez, all from their Double A club. They skipped right over Triple A.
Now, do you think the jump is bigger for a pitcher or a hitter?
I don't know if there's any difference. You know, in general, I always think it's more difficult for a pitcher, and I don't want to make it sound like pitching's tougher than hitting, but the thing with a hitter, see, you'll get a chance on a day like today to hit against some of the second-level relievers, inexperienced pitchers. As a pitcher, you have to get all of them out. You got to get the heart of the order out as well as the top and the bottom. You don't get any free ride, and that's why I think it takes a little longer for pitchers to mature. That's why some managers will spot their young position players. They won't play them against a Clemens or a Martinez. You'll try to put them in there against a number 5 starter where it's a little more comfortable for them.
1-1. Popped up behind the plate. Martinez giving it a look. He runs out of room.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Kitty, but the fact is when you're a hitter and you come up, you're automatically facing pitchers that have got more experience than you. If you come up to the major league level from any level, no matter if it's the 8th guy out of the bullpen, he's still got more experience than you do as a hitter. And and the pitcher always knows what he wants to do with the ball. And as a hitter, it's like a learning experience facing a pitcher for the first time. So it's difficult either way. I can agree with Kitty, but I also know as somebody who came from AAA to the major leagues, all of a sudden you're facing pitchers with a lot more experience, even that last guy out of the bullpen.
1-2. Strike 3 inside corner, and Mondesi down looking.
To explain how mental it can be, Charlie Manuel, who's just such a terrific guy and has been a good friend for years. Let's first check out the Yankee in-game box score.
Brought to you by Visa. It's everywhere you want to be. Soriano 1 for 4. Jeter 3 for 4. Giambi and Bernie Williams have not picked up hits, and the Yankees still have 7 runs. 1 hit for Matsui, a ribby, and 2 runs scored. Posada, 2-run home run. Ruben Sierra 2 for 4. Robin Ventura 1 for 2. And with that strikeout, Raul Mondesi is 0 for 3. Here's Soriano. First and second now, 1 out. Soriano doubled in 2 his last time up. He's 1 for 4.
Charlie was a good old boy from Natural Bridge, Virginia. He could hit. He had great numbers in the minor leagues. In fact, later went over to Japan and came close to breaking Sadahara O's record. But in the Twins organization, we had a lot of good hitters. You know, Bob Allison and Tony Oliva and Harmon Killebrew and on, Rod Carew. And so Charlie didn't get a lot of chance to, you know, to break in and play on a regular basis.
Swung on a miss.
And he's always saying that, he'd say, Kitty, you know, I can hit if I play every day. If I play every day, I can hit. So he'd go down to the minor leagues, and here's an example. He goes down to the minor leagues, and he hits 2 home runs off Steve Hargan, right-hand pitcher for Cleveland, who had real good stuff, but he was coming through kind of a rehab thing. And now Hargan is back in the big leagues, and Charlie gets called up. And he starts that night against Hargan. He said, boy, I hit 2 home runs off this guy in the minor leagues. You know, he had a pitcher he thought he could do some damage against. Well, he never, you know, a couple infield pop-ups and the ground balls, the same pitcher. But the stadium had 2 decks on it in the big leagues, and you're pressing because you don't get many opportunities, and you want to stay in the big leagues. And so that's the mental part of it that players have to get over.
Terry Mulholland warming. If they get to Giambi, they might bring in Mulholland. Pop up, left field, crisp. 2 down.
The other reason I think, Kenny, that there's a big difference is that you don't have any. They probably do now, but there's not many bubblegum cards in AAA players. And I know myself, when I came up, and I saw Mantle and Williams and these guys, I mean, I just thought you could not get them out with an average pitch. You know, it had to be a perfect pitch. And you have to get over that hurdle, like I mentioned Catfish Hunter. You get over that hurdle where you just say, hey, here it is. I got good stuff. You're going to make 7 outs out of 10. But it takes a while to get after it, because when you're a rookie, these big league players look, you know, they're bigger than life to you.
Here's Derek Jeter in July. He has been bigger than life, hitting close to 500. He's 3 for 4 today. 2 doubles, a single, an RBI, and a run scored.
And from a hitter standpoint, I think you don't really feel relaxed as a major leaguer until you know, when I go for 4 for a few days in a row, I'm still going to be in the lineup. You know, you've gotten to the point where you've done enough damage as a hitter that your manager feels comfortable, even if you've maybe gone for a week, 2 weeks without getting a hit or driving in runs, that you're still going to play. And that's something that never happened to Charlie Manuel. He never got that opportunity.
Go 1, fouled away with Charlie Manuel, a 198 career hitter, 4 home runs in 384 at-bats. He played 242 games, so yeah, obviously they platooned him, they spotted him.
And he ended up with the Dodgers as a pinch hitter, but if you check his stats in Japan, where he was playing every day, I mean, he might have been an MVP there one year, I'm not sure, but he was a home run champion.
Went on to become the manager of the Indians and was relieved last year of his duties. And the 0-2. Grounded softly to short. They'll go the short way to get the final out of the 7th inning. So for the Yankees, in the bottom of the 7th, no runs, 2 hit, 2 leadoff singles, and 2 men left. We go to the 8th. Yankees 7, Indians 3.
They have to master remaster the minors. This summer, minor league baseball returns to Yes with all the action of your favorite Yankees farm teams. Today at 5. Catch exciting International League action as the Columbus Clippers take on the Pawtucket Red Sox here on Yes.
Got some seats in the front row. You're not going to want to miss this Tuesday at Yankee Stadium as the first 18,000 fans, 14 and under, in attendance will receive a Hideki Matsui bobblehead doll, courtesy of Hormel and Land O'Lakes. Tickets are going fast, so visit the stadium ticket window, Yankees clubhouse shops, or you can call Ticketmaster 212-307-1212 or log on to Yankees.com. Coco Crisp swings and misses at Chris Hammond's offering, and the count 0-1. 7-10-0 for the Yankees and 3-7-1 for the Indians. And the 0-1. There's a strike.
This will be a little different education for these Cleveland hitters. I mean, they've been worried about Mussina throwing the ball past him, and I don't know if they can wait long enough for Chris Hammond's changeup.
Check the swing. Did he go? No, said Laz Diaz. Whoa. That's a big wingspan on Laz.
Laz getting some flack from the fans down there, too.
From the Yankee dugout, they said if he hit it, would have gone in the bleachers.
Coco got by with one there.
Laz Diaz earlier this year took care of somebody that ran on the field and attacked him.
It's in Chicago, wasn't it?
It was in Chicago, at U.S. Cellular, and former Marine. He took care of it quickly.
Yeah, you want a piece of me? Come on, Adam. Having some fun.
The 1-2. Did you see the fan in Los Angeles? This will finally be a deterrent to people running on the field. Fan in Los Angeles who ran out toward Brian Jordan and Wright got tried and sentenced to 30 days in jail. If you know you're going to be 30 days in jail, you're not running on the field. The 2-2. He swings and misses. One away.
Couldn't wait long enough on that changeup. Ever seen this cartoon cat where you swing 3 times at the changeup? That was one of these pitches from Chris Hammond. Coco Chris had, couldn't wait. You see his reaction at the end. I think this is priceless. Oh, man. Bugs Bunny changeup.
Pitch to Blake is inside.
Kitty, speaking of education, for this Indian team, if the Yankees can hold on and win this series, I mean, Cleveland took the Yankees 2 out of 3 in Cleveland, and things were looking pretty good. Now they come to Yankee Stadium, have a chance to lose 4 in a row and the season series handily.
High fly ball to center field. Bernie Williams is there. Sun glinting off his glasses. 2 away.
And we were talking about Charlie Manuel and an opportunity to play every day. He went over to Japan and played every day. Hit .302 in 6 seasons. MVP in '79 and led the league in home runs with 48 one year. So that's what playing every day. In fact, Casey Blake, who just made that out, is having a pretty good year because this is the first chance he's had to. You know, if he goes 0 for 4 today, he'll be in the lineup tomorrow.
Although that runs you into the age-old question. Well, I'd play you more if you played better. And, well, I'd play better if you played me more. So I guess if he had a hot streak, he could have stayed in the lineup forever. Pitch to Garrett a little bit low.
Kitty mentioned it depends on what kind of team you're on, though. I mean, he left out a few guys. Jimmy Hall was another guy who, that was a good player from Minnesota. He was standing in the way of Charlie Manuel.
Count 1-1.
Don Mincher, another one.
The Mule.
Yeah, another good hitter. Twins could turn out some hitters. And left-handers.
And left-hand hitters.
Yeah.
popped up on a change. Good inning for Hammond. Soriano puts it away for the final out of the 8th. So Hammond has retired all 4 Indians that he's faced. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. It's the Yankees 7 and the Cleveland Indians 3. The New York Yankees, the world's most successful sports franchise, are celebrating their historic 100th anniversary in 2003. On Thursday afternoon, July 24th, all fans 14 and under are going to receive a 100th anniversary T-shirt courtesy of Majestic Athletic. Come out to Yankee Stadium and join in the celebration of 100 years of greatness. Today at 5, minor league baseball returns to the S with a preview of the American League East rivalry to come. The All-Stars of tomorrow clash with the Yankees AAA affiliate, the Columbus Clippers, when they welcome Boston's farm team, the Pawtucket Red Sox, to Columbus. And that includes a scheduled rehab appearance by the Yankees' Nick Johnson as he makes his way back to the Bronx from the broken bones in his right hand. Don't miss Pawtucket against Columbus today at 5 right here on the Yankee Entertainment and Sports Network. It's a hot, hazy, somewhat humid day in the greatest city in the world. Terry Mulholland, the new pitcher for the Cleveland Indians, will face Jason Giambi. And the pitch is low. Mulholland, the 5th pitcher used by Eric Wedge. Mulholland is older than Eric Wedge and older than those guys. That one is drilled to right center field, giving chase is Milton Bradley. He makes a beautiful running play for the first out of the inning. That's a nice jump and a good haul.
That's why they play shallow. Man, pitchers love that. Outfielders that can play that shallow, cut off the gap. Like Paul Blair. Gary Maddox for the Phillies.
Yeah, that was a Paul Blair-like play.
Yep.
There's Bernie Williams, and the pitch is a strike.
Mulholland wants to pitch till he's at least 50. He's 40 right now. His big years were helping the Phillies to the '93 World Series.
I think you can pitch as long as you can, deflect or catch that line drive back through the middle.
Right.
Until you can't do that anymore, then
that's it.
Time to think about doing something else.
Unless you've got really good infielders. I remember in St. Louis when I was in my 40s, about 43, and one hopper would come back through the box, and I didn't get it, and I said, man, 10 years ago I'd had that ball, and I run over to back up third. There's Ozzie Smith turning it into a 6-4-3 double play. But you're right. It's not that you wouldn't feel comfortable pitching, but as strong as the hitters are today, the Yankees had a scary incident a couple of days ago when Ramon, one of their batting practice pitchers, was hit. He's okay, but that was even with a screen.
Yeah.
I mean, that ball gets back there in a hurry. Years ago, between starts, you used to throw batting practice, and then the hitters knew you didn't want the ball hit back through the box because you didn't have any screen. And that's where you learn to knock guys down, because if they hit one back through the middle, the next pitch you would buzz them. You had a little game within your own team.
7-3 Yankees lead, trying for a 4-game sweep of the Indians, and a real nice start to the second half of the season. 3-2, fouled away. Mulholland was with the Yankees as a starter. Real stand-up guy. He really struggled and did not like pitching in the American League, did not like the small ballparks, and gave up a load of home runs while with the Yankees, but really stood up to it. After every single game he was there, took total blame, and never made excuses. Pretty good guy in the clubhouse. The 3-2. Inside, he walked Bernie.
Uniontown, Pennsylvania. Turned 40 years old in spring training, drafted by the Giants. I think he went to the Phillies for Bedrock. Steve Bedrosian, I think he might have been involved in that trade. Former Cy Young Award winner.
Cleveland has handed out 8 walks in this game. It's not the walk so much, but the time it takes to get the ball forward.
Pitch to Matsui's a strike. In his 1 year with the Yankees, which was 1994, Mulholland was 6-7 with a 6.49 ERA in 24 games. Just couldn't do it. And he was not that far removed from when he was a really dominant pitcher in the National League. He just could not get people out in the American League.
Get an example, and I know this isn't a running situation with the Yankees up by 4 or late in the ballgame, but of Mulholland's delivery from the stretch and why it's so difficult to get a good jump.
This could be 2, 4, 6, 3, and that will do it here in the 8th inning. So a scoreless inning for Terry Mulholland against the Yankees. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on base. We've played 8 full here at Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. Last licks times for the Indians. Go to the top of the 9th, 7-3 Yanks. We go to the 9th inning. Yankees lead the Indians 7-3, and Joe Torre and Mel Stottlemyre will turn towards Sterling Hitchcock to start this inning. You see Sterling's numbers. Now, this is not the height of confidence because before Sterling has thrown a pitch, Mariano Rivera is warming up in the bullpen.
I think it's called reality.
I guess.
You know, they're going to give Sterling a chance to pitch a 1-2-3 inning and hope he does, but any sign of trouble, they want Mo to begin to get ready.
A couple of rumors in the papers today that Sterling Hitchcock is desired by the St. Louis Cardinals.
And that might be one reason why he's in this situation. You know, this is by no means a blowout game, 4-run lead. Not a lot of power in that Cleveland lineup, but we've seen now scored 4 runs in every game of this series.
We got Milton Bradley, and then he's followed by a couple of left-handed hitters, and Bruce started happening. That might be a reason why Hitchcock is in the game. Bradley has hit well against lefties all year. League's leading hitter against left-handed pitching.
Missed outside, 2-2. Today Bradley is 0 for 3. He's 2 for 27 in the 7 games against the Yankees. He will be happy to leave the Bronx. Crowd of almost 52,000 are on their way home. I'd say only about 35,000 left in the park. The 2-2 foul back.
That's what Sterling misses in these situations. Before the arm surgery, he had to, you know, that splitter was a little more of a put away pitch, a little more bite to it. He had an excellent changeup. All you have to lose is about 6 inches off that fastball or bite on the breaking ball. Big leaguers will catch up with it.
Way outside. Seven 10-0 for the Yankees, 3-7-1 for the Indians. And the 3-2. He walked him. Time for the play of the game, brought to you by Continental Airlines, the official airline of the New York Yankees. Continental Airlines, work hard, fly right.
Let's go back to the 4th inning. Jason Giambi at first, and at the time, Mike Mussina on the mound for the Yankees. This is going to be our Continental Airlines play of the game. Jody Garrett robbed of a base hit. Nice play by Mussina, covering the bag. It's going to be our Continental Airlines play of the game.
Pitch to Broussard is inside. For 2 with a walk.
And I've seen him pitch some good games, but it's just amazing that on the big league level that at some point in his career he has not been trained to look at the target instead of at first base like he is right here when he starts to throw the ball. Doesn't pick the target up until the last minute, and that's the reason you see him in these situations. You know, usually you're taught, you come to a set, you look at the guy at first. Now if you're not going to throw there, first you look toward the target and pick it up before you throw. He's sort of caught in between. He's looking at first and he's already started his motion.
Leaning towards home.
Yeah.
Well, in fairness to Hitchcock, not making excuses for him by any stretch, he has not pitched in 10 days. So that is not helping his cause at all.
But that's the challenge of a reliever. It's like we were saying a while ago about a guy that, well, you know, if I played more, I'd do better. Well, if you did better, you'd play more. Same thing with a reliever. You know you're not going to be in there for a while. You have to continue to throw and do what you can to stay sharp. Because that's an unacceptable excuse to managers that, well, I haven't pitched in 10 days. You have to do something during those 10 days to try to keep yourself ready.
Well, if he loses Broussard, then it becomes a safe situation. You'll probably see Rivera. The 3-1. Fouled straight back here. And against the facing of our booth.
He's got pretty good power. We don't get too many of them quite up this high.
That was headed straight for Audrey.
Yeah, she had it. Yeah. Good hands. Good hands, people.
The last time he pitched, he actually lost to the Indians the extra inning game. Last game of the series, Yankees lost 3-2. And the 3-2 pitch is popped up foul out of play.
Another lefty on deck into Travis Hafner.
And the 3-2. He walked him. And the crowd getting very restless, and so is Joe Torre. Well, Jim mentioned it's reality why they had Mariano warming up.
I was surprised he came in this situation, but I think it's a combination. Maybe there's, you know, here's a little bit of a cushion, 4 runs, and if they can get a 1-2-3 inning out of him, maybe they can generate some interest from scouts in the stands, but it didn't happen.
Well, that was a showcase for St. Louis. They might be walking away from the showcase. So Sterling Hitchcock is yanked out of the ball game, and enter Sandman as Mariano Rivera jogs in from left center field. It'll be Rivera against Hafner when we get back. Yankees try to hold on to a 7-3 lead.
It's Yankees baseball on Yes. Tomorrow, Robin and the Yanks look to rattle the Birds' cage and have the Jays singing the blues and the frogs. Join the Yes Network team for complete coverage tomorrow starting at 6:30 only on Yes. You've got the games. Now go online and get the scoop. Go! YesNetwork.com is your source for New York sports, giving you insider access to the Yankees and the Nets.
Longevity, you know, is paying off.
Log on to YesNetwork.com for original features from Yes Network talent and in-depth on-site coverage from every Yankees home game. Then get interactive with daily polls, message boards, and exclusive multimedia clips.
As a player, you love the excitement of New York.
Plus, shop online at the Yes Gear store. YesNetwork.com, your source for New York sports. Before the majors, they have to master the minors. This summer, minor league baseball returns to Yes with all the action of your favorite Yankees farm teams. Today at 5. Catch exciting International League action as the Columbus Clippers take on the Pawtucket Red Sox here on Yes.
Well, for the first word after the last out, stay with Yes for the Nissan postgame with Fred Hickman and Susan Waldman, featuring detailed analysis of today's game, interviews with players, plus scores and highlights from around the league. The Nissan postgame immediately following the game right here on Yes. So Sterling Hitchcock came on to start the 9th, and he walked Milton Bradley, and he walked Ben Broussard, and then he walked off the mound, and Mariano Rivera jogged in.
Very impressive numbers when you add up. Most of the time, if you add up the hits and the walks, and they equal the innings pitched, that's pretty good. But when they're way below the innings pitch, that's exceptional, and he's got a David Wells-like strikeout to walk ratio.
Mariano picked up a save in yesterday's game.
And this is a save situation again. If the tying run is on deck when you come in, it is a save situation. It's always the thing to remember. Rivera to Hafner. Out of the zone, 1-0. There's a strike.
That's the kind of confidence Joe has in Mariano. I mean, he is He's not going to save every game, but you can bring in a pitcher with a 4-run lead and just gamble a little bit, knowing you have a guy of his caliber in the bullpen.
Grounded to first. One play for Giambi, makes the safe play at first. One down as the runners move up. Those runners mean nothing.
And that's something you talked about earlier, Michael, when we were discussing Jason's value as a first baseman. He's been really good at picking throws, but he's not going to take a chance on a throw. It's kind of like Steve Garvey, who was a real good glove man for the Dodgers, but just could not throw the bases and wouldn't throw in those situations. Just always take the sure out.
Here's Victor Martinez, 1 for 3, an RBI single against Mussina in the Indians' 3-run 7th. Yankees up 7-3. We're in the top of the 9th inning here at the stadium. 2nd and 3rd, 1 out. And the fastball is high, 95-mile-an-hour cheese from Mariano. There's a strike.
So tonight we get to see where he came from and how he got to the big leagues, right? And that his Yankeeography is on tonight.
Yankeeography. You got Tom Brokaw center stage, Mariano Rivera Yankeeography, and then Bernie Williams the Journey Within concert. 1-1. Hit up the middle, grabbed there by Jeter. Fires to first as a run scores. Milton Bradley scores. Broussard moves to third. Martinez picks up his 2nd RBI of the day, and the Yankee lead is now 7-4, but there are 2 outs.
Ball stung off the bat of Victor Martinez, who will actually get the RBI. Mariano thought he had a shot. Derek Jeter gloves it. And Cleveland now down to their last out. Those outs are gold nuggets late in the ball game, and you're trying to take the very last one for the opposition.
Now it's up to Johnny Peralta. And the first pitch is a strike. Another strike. Rivera looking for his 18th save. And what's left of the crowd of 51,891 standing here at the stadium. And the 0-2. This should do it. Grounded to Jeter. Charges. Fires. Got it. Game over. Yankees win 7-4. And a loss weekend for Cleveland and New York as the Yankees sweep the Indians 4 straight. Good job by Rivera getting out of the mess created by Hitchcock. Mike Mussina will get the win. Rivera will pick up the save. A home run by Posada. And the Indians, every single game in this series, they scored 4 runs. In each game, it wasn't enough.
Base on balls did them in today. Yankees capitalized with that big 6-run 6th.
So the Yankees in their familiar celebration walk will come back to wrap it up right here on the YES Network. Yankees beat the Indians 7-4.